Part 27. Martial Arts, Become Invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 261. How? Mr. Qin has a problem. Xiao Wuji's eyes narrowed, showing a hint of coldness. Tan Henian was startled and said quickly, "Don't dare, Xiaoqian who has an order, and the lower officials should obey it. It's just that there are many secrets in the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau. His Majesty the Emperor has already made a decree. Outsiders are not allowed to approach at will. I really don't understand." Xiao Wuji said, "Don't worry, Mr. Qin. I am here to thoroughly investigate the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau on your Majesty's order. The consequences will be borne by the officer himself." Hearing what Xiao Wuji said, Tan Henian finally felt relieved and said with a smile, "In that case, please invite Xiaoqianhu to come with me." Then, Xiao Wuji followed Tan Henian into the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau. Along the way, Xiao Wuji saw many soldiers guarding everywhere. Looking at the armor they were wearing, Xiao Wuji knew that these soldiers were from the Suzaku Legion of the Four Elephants Legion. To the south of the city was the Suzaku Legion. The Legion is responsible for guarding the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau, and the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau is no exception. Arriving at the main hall of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau, Xiao Wuji asked Tan Henian to summon all the senior officials of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau. In addition to Tan Henian, the supervisor, there are also directors of various departments of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau. There were a total of 17 people. When these people came to the main hall, they were shocked to see Xiao Wuji sitting on the main seat and many imperial guards. It was not a good thing for the imperial guards to come to the door. It meant that someone had committed a crime. More than a dozen. You look at me, I look at you, everyone is guessing who committed the crime, which attracted the Jin Yaiwei to come to arrest the person. It can be seen that everyone is a little nervous. This is not because they are guilty, but because they are afraid of the Jin Yaiwei. Xiao Wuji is currently checking the Ordnance Registration Book of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau. Imperial law stipulates that after a batch of ordnance is manufactured, it must be registered and stored in the warehouse, and then sealed. Only with the Emperor's imperial edict or the approval of the Ministry of War can the arms be transferred out. Warehouse 16. Whether it is sealed or transferred out, it must be strictly registered and no omissions can be missed. In this way, the whereabouts of all ordnance will be clear for future inspection and comparison. Xiao Wuji was looking at the ordnance registration account book at the moment, and all the ordnance in and out of the warehouse were recorded. It was clear and obvious at a glance, without any flaws. Xiao Wuji had expected this. The people behind the scenes acted impeccably, and it was impossible to leave any flaws in the account books. Therefore, checking the account books was destined to be fruitless. Xiao Wuji was just leaving at the moment. It was just a formality and a pretense at the same time. After the senior officials of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau arrived, Xiao Wuji finally put down the account books and looked at the many officials. Tan Henian stood up, looked at Xiao Wuji and introduced everyone. "This is the 13th Taibao of Jinyue. Xiao Wuji, Mr. Xiao." Xiao Wuji. When many officials heard this, they were suddenly shocked and quickly bowed their hands in salute. "I'm going to see Mr. Xiao." All officials are respectful and do not dare to be presumptuous. They have all heard of Xiao Wuji's name, and he is above them in terms of status and power. As the 13th Taibao of Jin Yaiwei, Xiao Wuji only needs to say a word, can decide their life or death. "Get up, everyone." "Thank you, sir." Many officials responded in unison, and then stood neatly together, waiting for Xiao Wuji to speak. "Is everyone here?" Xiao Wuji looked at Tan Henian. "There are also Mr. Liu, Mr. Li, and Mr. Qian who are not here," an official said. Qin Henian looked unhappy. "Didn't I say that everyone should come? Why didn't they come?" The man said, "Maybe they are on their way here." Your Excellency knows that they are quite far away. Qin Henian waved his hand and said send someone to urge them, but Xiaoqian who still drags his feet when summoning them. How can he behave like this? Yes, yes, yes. A small official smiled dryly and stepped back. Tan Henian turned to look at Xiao Wuji and said flatteringly, let Xiaoqian who see the joke. Xiao Wuji said calmly, don't be nervous, I'm just here to ask a question. There was a smile on his face and he looked very kind. But Tan Henian and the 17 principals did not dare to relax. Just listen to what Jin Yiwei said. If you really believe it, you are really stupid. All officials know it. Jin Yiwei kills without batting an eye. What they like most is to kill while laughing, and they fall out faster than turning the pages of a book. They are smiling with you 1 second, but they may take action the next. Mr. Qin, you must still not know why I came to the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau until now, right? Xiao Wuji looked at Tan Henian and said. Tan Henian wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said with a dry smile, what Xiaoqian who said is true. Xiaoqian who, please speak out. Xiao Wuji looked around the crowd, suppressed his smile, his face became cold, his eyes became sharp, and he said coldly, just yesterday, I led people to capture a group of thugs. Do you know what they sent? He faced the crowd. With a worried look, Xiao Wuji said word by word, it's ordnance, enough to equip 1,000 people. There are even chi-breaking light feather arrows among them. Boom. Xiao Wuji's words fell, and every word was like thunder. Tan Henian and more than a dozen officials all felt their brains roaring, and there seemed to be countless flies flying around their ears. Especially Tan Henian, his vision went dark and he almost fell to the ground. Everyone knew that this matter was a big deal. Someone was actually reselling ordnance, and they were caught by Jin Yiwei. As officials of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau, they were all suspected. None of them could escape their guilt. With a pop, Tan Henian immediately fell to his knees. Other officials also followed suit and knelt in front of Xiao Wuji. Mr. Xiao, this is none of my business. I really don't know. Qin Henian shouted with a panic look on his face, I have been serving as the supervisor of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau for 6 years. I have been working hard for these 6 years and have not dared to slack off in the slightest. The matter of reselling ordnance really has nothing to do with the lower officials. I hope Xiaoqian who will be aware of it. Yes, Mr. Xiao, it really has nothing to do with us. No matter how brave we are, we don't dare to resell arms. I hope Xiaoqian who realizes that we are really unjust. More than a dozen officials fell to their knees on the ground, shouting in panic, wailing, and crying to the sky and the earth. It was so noisy for a while that the lobby of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau seemed to have turned into a vegetable market. Okay, everyone, shut up. Xiao Wuji shouted coldly, and all the officials shut up and showed fear on their faces. Whether you are unjust or not, what I say does not count, and what you say does not count. I only look at the evidence. As he spoke, Xiao Wuji picked up the account book and said, I have compared the incoming and outgoing weapons, and there is no problem. But you also know that a mere account book cannot explain anything at all. Selling arms is a serious crime of treason. Not only will you be executed by Lingqi, but the 9 tribes will also be implicated. If you have anything to say, just say it quickly. Once you miss today's opportunity, it will be too late to regret it in the future. Xiao Wuji was using psychological warfare at this moment to knock on the mountain and shock the tiger. While he was verbally threatening, he kept a close eye on the faces and micro-expressions of all the officials, trying to see the flaws. Flying geese leave traces. It is impossible for so much ordnance to be shipped out of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau without leaving any traces. Therefore, there must be an internal response within the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau. Master Qin, what do you think? When Xiao Wuji called his name, Tan Henian's body trembled, he raised his head tremblingly, and stammered, Xiao Wuji, Xiaoqian who, you, are you doubting me? Xiao Wuji didn't say anything, but looked at Tan Henian quietly, his eyes cold and devoid of any emotion. It was self-evident that he was doubting him. Tan Henian was frightened and said in a panic, Xiaoqianhu, this is not a joke. I have never done this before. I dare to swear to God that if I really get involved in reselling arms, my parents will die, my wife and children will be killed, and my Qin family will not have a good death, and they will not be safe after death. Tan Henian was so flustered that he swore a poisonous oath. The oath was so vicious that many officials at the rear looked horrified. In this era, some people still believe in poisonous oaths. Seeing Tan Henian swearing such a poisonous oath, they all secretly shocked. Even if such a poisonous oath is impossible to come true, it will be bad for one's own luck and very unfavorable. However, because of this, Xuehua, Song Liman and other Jin Yiwei's suspicion of Qin Henian has been reduced a lot. From their point of view, Tan Henian must have a clear conscience and have never done it if he dares to make such a vicious oath. Otherwise, who would swear the lives of his parents, wife, children, his entire family, and what will happen after his death? There would be nothing like this in the world. A cruel person. But Xiao Wuji didn't take it seriously. In his opinion, the so-called poisonous oath is just nonsense. Those who seek great things should do whatever it takes to do anything. What does it mean to swear by your parents, wives, and children? Jianghu, there are ruthless people everywhere. In pursuit of fame and fortune, supreme martial arts, and powerful status, there are many demons who kill their fathers, mothers, and destroy their entire family in order to complete the martial arts. Compared with them, Tan Henian's two sentences are not painful. What are the itchy poisonous oaths? Far from it. Seeing that Xiao Wuji still didn't believe him, Tan Henian immediately kowtowed and cried bitterly, please Xiaoqianhu, see clearly, please Xiaoqianhu, see clearly. I really haven't done it, I really haven't done it. Okay, stop knocking. Xiao Wuji took a deep look at Tan Henian and said calmly, have you ever done this? I have no evidence to prove your innocence. But with so much ordnance leaked from the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau, you, the supervisor, cannot escape the blame. Death penalty can be avoided, but living crime cannot be escaped. Mr. Qin, you must be aware of your current situation, right? After Xiao Wuji finished speaking, Tan Henian immediately collapsed on the ground, his face was pale, his eyes were blank, as if he had lost his soul. As Xiao Wuji said, with so much ordnance flowing out of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau, he, the supervisor, could not help but he was to blame. Even if it was finally found that he had nothing to do with the arms reselling case, he could not escape the charge of poor supervision. At the least, he would be dismissed from office, and at the worst, he would be exiled to the frontier. The emperor was furious and sent him to the border. Beheading is also possible. In short, his life is over. The officials behind Tan Henian couldn't help but secretly panic when they looked at the lost Tan Henian. Xiao Wuji changed his face very quickly. He was smiling 1 second, and then he was straight the next second. Tan Henian was sentenced to death. This act of killing a chicken to scare the monkeys made them frightened and chilled both physically and mentally. No good, something serious is bad. At this moment, a panicked voice suddenly came. I saw a petty official running into the lobby in a panic, kneeling at Xiao Wuji's feet and saying, I would like to inform you all, Sir Qian, Lord Qian, he. What happened to Mr. Qian? Say it quickly. An official next to him saw the young official stammering and was so angry that he couldn't speak. How long has it been and you are still here to show off? You don't even know what the situation is now. You don't want to die, right? Xiao the official swallowed and said in horror, Master Qian, he is dead. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 262. The clerk swallowed and said in horror, Master Qian, he is dead. As soon as these words came out, all the officials were stunned. The dull Tanhenian shuddered suddenly and quickly turned to look at the clerk. Xiao Wuji also looked at the little official, with a sneer on his lips. He would die early or later, but he died at this time. No one would believe him if he said there was nothing wrong with him. To be clear, how did Mr. Qian die? An official asked. The clerk panted and said, I was ordered to call Master Qian, but the door of Master Qian's room was closed. I shouted for a long time but no one responded. The villain had no choice but to go up and push the door. Unexpectedly, the door was unlocked. After the door opened, the villain saw Master Qian's body. Mr. Qian was lying on the table, bleeding from all his orifices, and died miserably. The clerk was gesticulating as he spoke, and the frightened expression on his face was clearly visible. When many officials heard this, they had some vague guesses in their hearts, and at the same time they turned their attention to Xiao Wuji. Xiao Wuji asked, what is the full name of Lord Qian? What are your responsibilities at the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau? Qin Henian said quickly, Master Qian's full name is Qian Qinyi. He is the head of the Jiazi No. 2 warehouse. He is responsible for guarding the warehouse and registering the entry and exit of ordnance. As he spoke, Tanhenian was stunned and could no longer speak. Apparently he thought about it too. A supervisor who guarded the armory would have died sooner or later, but he died at this time. What could be the reason? He is obviously related to the arms reselling case. Either he commits suicide out of fear of crime, or he is killed and silenced by the real culprit behind the scenes. The death of Qian Qinyi further confirmed his accusation of poor supervision of Tanhenian. Bring the body over and search his room at the same time. Xiao Wuji ordered. Obey. Underscore. As soon as these words came out, the officials were a little scared. As if to confirm Xiao Wuji's guess, as soon as he finished speaking, two clerks ran over in a panic, shouting as they ran, It's dead, it's dead. When the two men came over and asked, sure enough, the remaining Mr. Lu and Mr. Li were also dead. 3 principals died in a row, which shows how rampant the real murderer behind the scenes was. He was also very fast in silencing him, and he was the first to do so. Xiao Wuji took the lead and killed the relevant people one by one, completely cutting off Xiao Wuji's clues. After a while, 3 corpses were carried to the lobby. Tanhenian and other officials glanced at the 3 corpses and were frightened. Overturned. Several officials lay directly in the corner and vomited. They were all civil servants and had almost never been in contact with dead people in their lives. Of course they couldn't bear it. Not to mention that these 3 people died miserably. Xiao Wuji had seen the corpses, and these 3, the skin of all the people was blackened, and their orifices were bleeding. They were obviously poisoned. Judging from the death conditions of the 3 people, the poison that poisoned them was the same. Haha, are you provoking me? Xiao Wuji sneered. The murderer behind the scenes killed the 3 of them with such obvious poison, which directly ruled out the possibility of them committing suicide out of fear of crime. After all, there are many ways to commit suicide. No one would choose to take such a strong poison, and the 3 of them committed suicide by taking poison at the same time. There is only one possibility for the murderer to do this, and that is to provoke Jin Yiwei. Let me tell you straightforwardly, yes, I was the one who resold arms. I have silenced him and you can't find out. And this is also a warning to Xiao Wuji retreated when he saw the difficulty. Otherwise, what the 3 officials are like now will be Xiao Wuji's future fate. Judging from the current situation, at least 3 people in the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau are involved in reselling ordnance. Mr. Qin, there is something wrong with your ability. You actually have so many traitors under you. Xiao Wuji looked at Tanhenian and said with a sneer. Tanhenian was already wet with sweat. He sighed and couldn't say a word. Soon, Shuihua and Song Liman brought people back. The two of them cupped their hands and said, "Sir, nothing was found." Xiao Wuji nodded slightly, indicating that it didn't matter. He had expected it a long time ago. Since the real murderer sent someone to silence him, he naturally would not leave any other loopholes. Shuehua, lead a group of people to blockade the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau, and then take Mr. Qin and others back to Bijinfuzi. Subordinates obey. Shuehua waved his hand, and the surrounding Jinyi guards rushed forward like wolves and tigers, taking down all the officials. "Mr. Xiao, what are you doing?" "I'm wronged by the official, I'm wronged by the official." "Your Majesty did not sell ordnance, but I hope Xiaorenhu will find out." "Spare your life, spare your life." Many officials cried and begged for mercy, shouting hoarsely. Only Tan Henian remained indifferent and was still captured by the Jin Yiwei. Xiao Wuji looked at the many officials and said with a smile, "Everyone, don't be nervous, it's just a formality. His Majesty has ordered a strict investigation into such a shocking case of reselling arms. It is necessary to ask you all to go back and ask questions. As long as you ask clearly and eliminate your suspicions, I will personally send someone to take you home. Come and take them away." Xiao Wuji waved his hand, and a team of royal guards took away a group of officials who were crying for their fathers and mothers. At the same time, the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau was sealed off, and the clerks, servants, and craftsmen inside were not allowed to leave. There will be people one by one. They asked questions. The case was too involved and everyone in the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau was suspicious. They had to ask questions one by one to rule out the suspicions. Although it was time-consuming and laborious, it was safer and more likely to lead to accidents. Hi. As Xiao Wuji said, the flying geese must leave traces. The three of them smuggled ordnance many times, it is impossible not to leave the slightest flaw. Maybe someone has seen them smuggling ordnance. This person may be the superior. Mo Fang saw it accidentally, maybe he saw it accidentally while passing by. They didn't pay attention at all at the time, but as long as the Jin Yiwei asked, they could recall it. When the time comes, it will be of great use. At the entrance of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau, Shuehua took a team of people took all the officials away. Song Liman asked, "Sir, what should we do next?" Xiao Wuji said, "Go and have a look at the homes of Qian Qinyi and the other three. Maybe we can get some clues." "Yes." Then, a group of people came to Qian Qinyi's mansion. As soon as he walked to the door, Xiao Wuji saw many people gathered at the door of Qian's mansion, and there were police officers standing guard outside the gate. Judging from the style of their clothes, they were not members of the criminal department, or an agent from Jingzhou Mansion, but someone from the Six Gates. Problem occurs. Xiao Wuji frowned slightly and immediately led people forward. Seeing Xiao Wuji approaching, the two six-door police officers at the door immediately took action to stop him. They saw Xiao Wuji and others were wearing Fiyu uniforms and knew that they were Jin Yiwei, so they were very respectful and said, "A murder has occurred in the Qian mansion, and it has been taken over by the Six Gates. All Jin Yiwei superiors, please stay away." Xiao Wuji took out the Jin Yiwei Kinhu token and said, "With it, can I go in?" When the two detectives saw Kinhu's token, they quickly lowered their heads and saluted in fear. "Young man, please see Kinhu, sir." "Okay, get up." Xiao Wuji waved his hand, put away the token, and walked into the Qian mansion. The two detectives naturally did not dare to stop them. This is 1,000 households of Jin Yiwei, how can they stop it? Inside the Qian mansion, there are more than 30 people. The arresters were walking back and forth, and they were transporting corpses one after another. The ground in the courtyard of Qian's mansion was already covered with corpses, including 4 or 5 people. There were also a steady stream of corpses being moved in quickly. Apparently there were more corpses than others. "There are these." When Xiao Wuji saw this scene, He knew in his heart that the Qian mansion had been wiped out. Didn't you say not to let people in? How do people outside do things? Suddenly a voice sounded. The voice was female, and it was very familiar. Xiao Wuji turned around and saw that the person who came was a familiar person. You again. When the visitor saw Xiao Wuji, he frowned slightly and was a little unhappy. Xiao Wuji smiled, clasped his fists and said, "We meet again, Princess Xinran." That's right, the silver-clad headhunter led by Li Amenmen who came to Qian Mansion to investigate the case this time is the Princess Xia Xinran. Xiao Wuji, why are you Jinyaiwei people here? This is our six-door case, and you Jinyaiwei people don't need to intervene. Xia Xinran folded her arms and shouted coldly. Xiao Wuji said I didn't want to intervene originally, but coincidentally, Qian Qinyi is related to the case I am investigating, so I have to come. Xia Xinran frowned and asked, your case, what case are you investigating? Xiao Wuji said this is a top secret. I forgive you for not being able to tell the princess more. What can't be said? Are you lying to me? You are determined to steal my case. Xia Xinran's face turned even more ugly. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, Princess, the Qian Mansion's destruction of the family is not as simple as you see. Forgive me for being rude, but with the princess and her subordinates, it is impossible to figure out this murder case. As soon as these words came out, Xia Xinran couldn't bear it anymore and shouted, you dare to look down on me? Xiao Wuji smiled and said, I'm just telling the truth. Moreover, the case that I am responsible for has been issued by His Majesty with an imperial edict and the imperial authority has granted the order to be executed first and then reported. No one is allowed to stop it, and anyone who disobeys the order will be killed. Princess, I am really sorry. Xia Xinran's face was gloomy and uncertain. It was possible that Xiao Wuji was perfunctory with her before, but it is absolutely impossible now. Xiao Wuji has moved out of the emperor, which proves that what he told is the truth. Xiao Wuji did not dare to falsely pass on the imperial edict. But that's it. Because of this, Xia Xinran was unwilling to give up Qianzhou. She had been joining the six doors for a while, but she had not received any important tasks at all. Every day she was either patrolling the streets to catch thieves or fighting gangsters. It was not easy to meet someone. The murderer is still a third-rate little thing. This kind of case is not challenging at all to Xia Xinran. What she wants is to hunt down the gangsters and the devils in the world. But no matter what she says, Xian Yuan Kisha just won't give it. She assigned the task. She also said that she was inexperienced and needed to practice and practice first. Experience is a ghost, practice. This case of the Qian Mansion extermination was the first big case that Xia Xinran encountered. Dare to exterminate a whole family of officials, the murderer must not be simple. Xia Xinran was ready to show off her skills. But she didn't expect that Xiao Wuji came and wanted to cut off Hu. How could Xia Xinran endure this? The key is that Xiao Wuji came with the emperor's will, and she wouldn't let him. Gotta give in. You all go to the hall first. Xia Xinran looked at her men and ordered. After all the detectives left, Xia Xinran walked up to Xiao Wuji and whispered, what is the case you want to investigate? Xiao Wuji smiled and said, I told you that this is top secret. I forgive you for not revealing it. Xia Xinran gritted her teeth and said, I am the princess, can't you even tell me? No matter who leaks the secret, I will never leak it. Xiao Wuji smiled and shook his head, I'm sorry, princess. I'm sorry that I can't do anything. If the princess really wants to know, she should go to His Majesty the Emperor and ask for the imperial edict. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 263. Xia Xinran saw that Xiao Wuji refused to take the advice, and was so angry that her back molars almost broke, and she cursed in a low voice, "Xiao Wuji, don't be proud, I will not just let this matter go." Snort. Xia Xinran snorted coldly and left angrily. Not long after, a loud roar came from outside. Hateful! Hateful! How abominable! Xiao Wuji, this princess will never give up. This case has been settled by this princess. At the door of Qian's mansion, Xia Xinran was so angry that she cursed and kicked her detective away. The detective felt aggrieved and said, "Princess, it's Xiaoqian who is angry with you, why did you hit me?" Xia Xinran said angrily. "I can't beat him, so of course I can only beat you." At this time, a beautiful woman walked up to Xia Xinran and whispered, "Princess, it's best that the princess doesn't get involved in this case." This beautiful woman is Xia Xinran's bodyguard. She is a powerful master. She was sent by Xia Yuanxiang to protect Xia Xinran. Xia Xinran frowned and asked, "Why?" The beautiful woman said, "This case is not simple. If the princess intervenes, I am afraid she will be implicated." The beautiful woman is well informed and has much more experience in the world than Xia Xinran. When Xia Xinran led people to inspect the Qian mansion scene, she also saw it. Through the death conditions and the number of corpses, the beautiful woman can be sure, the person who wiped out the entire Qian family was a huge force, with many murderers. There were only a few people with this kind of force in Jinling City, and each one had a big background. In addition, Xiao Wuji was the one who personally investigated the case, and the decree issued by the emperor himself further proved that this case was more terrifying than they imagined. If they got involved rashly, it would probably affect themselves. Although she was a strong master, she could not guarantee that she could save Xia Xinran. "Xia Xinran," he said with a solemn expression, "is it possible that those people still dare to kill this princess?" "This possibility cannot be ruled out." The beautiful woman said in a deep voice, "The princess wants to know that there are many unscrupulous murderers in the world. They don't care about the identity of the princess. Once there is profit, they will kill the princess without hesitation. Just like the golden-faced Lion King, he even dared to bloodbath the entire Li family, and even dared to force his way into the palace. Li Wenbo was still killed while hiding in the palace. Princess, for your own safety, please do not act rashly." Xia Xinran rolled her eyes and shook her head. "No, this is my first big case. I can't just let it go. I 540 must check it out to see who else dares to look down on me. Come on, let's go back to Liamen. Uncle Xianyuan must know the inside story." After saying that, Xia Xinran hurried back to the 6 doors. Seeing this, the beautiful woman shook her head helplessly. Xia Xinran is good at everything, but her reckless character cannot be changed. She is obviously weak and pitiful, but she likes to be chivalrous and righteous all day long. He clamored to eliminate harm for the people. This newborn calf is not afraid of tigers, and it is somewhat similar to those young disciples from martial arts sects. It's just that Xia Xinran is not a martial artist after all. She is the honor of the princess and has a noble status. Xia Xinran, if Xinran was good at anything, how could Xia Yuanxiang spare her as a guard? The beautiful woman thought for a while and hurriedly followed. In the Qian mansion, many guards in golden clothes took over the work of catching the 6 doors. They took the corpses one after another they were carried out from each room and placed neatly in the courtyard. Xiao Wuji walked into a room and looked up, only to see 2 corpses hanging from the beams. The 2 corpses were a man and a woman, both servants of the Qian mansion. Were all hanged from the beams after death. More than 100 people in the Qian mansion were all killed, and their bodies were all hung from the beams. The horrific scene could even scare a person into a lunatic. After seeing the murder scene, Song Liman and many of the imperial guards couldn't help but shake their heads and marvel at the murderer's ruthlessness. This is another warning. Xiao Wuji has already sent people to the residences of the other two deceased people. If Xiao Wuji guessed correctly, the residences of those two officials have also been blood-bathed. The poisoning of Qian Qinyi and other three officials was the first warning, and the bloodbath of the three officials was the second warning. The purpose is to warn those investigating the case not to continue to investigate. Otherwise, not only will I die, but my whole family will also have no way to survive. How audacious, he is even more arrogant than me. Xiao Wu, BHFD, looked at the corpses all over the courtyard and had some thoughts in his heart. Like the golden-faced Lion King, he only destroyed one mansion in one night. This man in the dark actually destroyed 3 families in one night. It's not like that. Does he still want to be arrogant? Lord Qi, the corpses are all here, 147 in total. Song Liman came behind Xiao Wuji and said respectfully. Did you find any useful clues? Xiao Wuji asked. No. Song Liman shook his head, with a look of helplessness on his face. There is nothing but corpses. We checked Qian Qinyi's study and found that his study had been emptied, not a single piece of paper was left. What about the secret room? Didn't find the secret room. No. Is it possible that we really gained nothing? Didn't Qian Qinyi leave a way out for himself? Xiao Wuji frowned slightly. Go and have a look again. Xiao Wuji came to Qian Qinyi's study. The bookshelves and desks in the study were empty. As Song Liman said, the study had been emptied. When the murderer was silenced, he emptied all the books in the study. So, once Qian Qinyi left something suspicious, they would have already taken it away. These officials are all old foxes. It is impossible for Qian Qinyi to leave nothing behind. Selling ordnance is a major crime against the 9 clan. If this official is Qian Qinyi, he will definitely leave behind. Whether it's for self-protection or atonement, there will definitely be some clues left behind. Xiao Wuji's cold eyes swept through the study, not missing any clues. Song Liman led people to search the study every inch, knocking on all the walls and every floor tile, looking for possible secret rooms or secret rooms. Grid. But in the end still got nothing. Is there really none? Just when Xiao Wuji was about to give up, a ray of sunlight suddenly passed across Xiao Wuji's eyes. The sunlight was so dazzling that Xiao Wuji couldn't help but squint his eyes. Looking along the light, Xiao Wuji saw something on the ceiling above his head. There is a hole. The hole is very small, only half the size of a baby's finger. The sunlight shines into the room through that small hole. After all, Qian Qinyi is also a 5th-rank minister of the imperial court. Why is there a hole in the ceiling of the study room? Isn't he worried about rain leaking? Song Liman was confused. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, maybe this is the clue Qian Qinyi left for us. Go up and take a look. Yes. Song Liman walked out of the study, used Qinggong to fly to the roof, and found a small hole. This small hole was made using a special technique, and some mechanism techniques were used. Principle. Although the small hole exists, rainwater will not flow into the study through the small hole. Looking inside through the small hole, you cannot see the full view of the interior of the study, only a candlestick. Candelabra. Xiao Wuji immediately found the candlestick. The candlestick was ordinary. The whole body was covered with a thick layer of wax, as if it had been used for many years. Other than that, it was no different from an ordinary candlestick. There was no interlayer or there was no engraving. But Xiao Wuji knew that the small hole left by Qian Qinyi to hint at the candlestick definitely had a deep meaning. Xiao Wuji used his palm skills to peel off all the wax on the surface of the candlestick. Sure enough, he found something on it. It was not an engraving, but a pattern. It was a small scorpion, which was carved out with a knife. It was carved very beautifully. Xiao Wuji knew that Qian Qinyi was a porcelain carving enthusiast, and his own porcelain carving skills were not weak. I think this scorpion was carved on the candlestick by Jianqinyi himself. After carving the scorpion, he wrapped it in wax and hid it. It was placed in the open, and others would not care at all. Unless it was through the small hole in the roof, outsiders would not notice it. I don't think there is anything special about this candlestick at all. Even if the thief sets fire to the study and burns it to ashes, this candlestick can still survive. Moreover, the fire will melt the wax and reveal the scorpion on it. In any case, this clue is also can be retained. As expected, all of these officials in the imperial court are old foxes. Xiao Wuji sneered twice, handed the candlestick to his men, and asked them to take it back to Bijin Fuzi for sealing. In the entire Jian mansion, perhaps this is the only candlestick that is useful. And when Xiao Wuji saw the scorpion, he always felt a little familiar, as if where have I seen it before? Let's go back to Fuzi, Bijin. Afterwards, Xiao Wuji left half of his people to continue investigating in Jian mansion to see if there were any missing clues. He took people back to Bijin Fuzi. After returning to Bijin Fuzi, Xiao Wuji went there immediately archives room. According to some memories in his mind, Xiao Wuji looked through more than a dozen files and finally found the scorpion. He was right. Xiao Wuji opened a file and pulled out a piece of craft paper. There was a scorpion clearly drawn on the craft paper. This scorpion was exactly the same as the scorpion left by Jianqinyi. This is the symbol of the Scorpion Gate. The Poison Scorpion sect is an evil sect outside the Mobei Great Wall. Because it is far away from the Central Plains, the major sects in the Central Plains don't know much about the Poison Scorpion sect. Jin Yiwei's information about the Poison Scorpion sect is also very limited. He only knows about the Poisonous Scorpion section. Everyone will have a scorpion tattoo. The disciples of the Poisonous Scorpion sect are good at poison skills and are also proficient in the art of Gu. Moreover, the Poisonous Scorpion sect has been keeping a low profile for many years, and has not caused any big disturbances in the world, and there are no famous figures. Xiao Wuji, the information about the Poison Scorpion sect in my hand was preserved 23 years ago. At that time, a Poison Scorpion sect traitor fled into the Central Plains and caused a series of murders. He was finally captured and brought to justice by a member of the Jinyi Guards. What is recorded in the file is the Poisonous Scorpion sect traitor back then. Why did a sect from outside the Great Wall of Mobei come to Jinling City? Is it also related to the arms reselling case? Xiao Wuji fell into deep thought. Suddenly he thought that Fanda and Fan Er were also from Mobei. Now it seems that it is no coincidence that these two forces come from outside the Great Wall. Maybe the real culprit behind the scenes is to use people from outside the Mobei Wall to confuse the public and reduce his own suspicion. Xiao Wuji quickly guessed the truth. Sir, Yuan Qin who invites you. At this time, Song Liman walked into the archives room and reported respectfully. Xiao Wuji nodded slightly. I know, I will go immediately. Putting the files back to their original positions, Xiao Wuji rushed to Yuan Xiong's Qinhu office. In the middle hall of the Qinhu office, Yuan Xiong sat in the main seat, and Yang Zonping sat on the right. Third brother, here I come. Xiao Wuji said to Yuan Xiong, and at the same time nodded to Yang Zonping. Sit down. Yuan Xiong said. Have you found any clues? Xiao Wuji said 3 officials of the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau were killed. It can be confirmed that they were silenced. I went to Jianqinyi's residence and found that Jianqinyi's entire family had been wiped out. The residences of 2 other officials were also blood-bathed. I can confirm that they were all murdered and silenced. Damn it! Yuan Xiong was so angry that he slapped his palm on the tea table, knocking the teapot and bowl over on the floor. These people are so audacious that they dare to kill court officials wantonly in the city of Jinling and wipe out their families. It is really unreasonable. Yuan Xiong's eyes were red and bloodshot, and he was obviously furious. Xiao Wuji said, third brother, calm down first. Although they killed Qianqian Man's family and did it very cleanly, I still found the clues. Oh? What is it? Say it. Yuan Xiong turned his worries into joy. This is it. Xiao Wuji took out the piece of craft paper and handed it to Yuan Xiong. Yuan Xiong took the craft paper, and Yang Zonping also leaned over to look at it. What's this? Both Yuan Xiong and Yang Zonping didn't understand what it meant. We can't blame them. After all, the Scorpion sect files are an old case from 23 years ago. Yuan Xiong and Yang Zonping may not have been exposed to it. Even if they have seen it, they have not seen it. The ability of photographic memory may have been forgotten a long time ago. Xiao Wuji explained this is the symbol of the poisonous scorpion gate outside the Mobei Great Wall, and it is also the clue left by Qianqianyi. I think the people from the poison scorpion sect were the ones who wiped out Qianqianyi's entire clan. Poison Scorpion Gate? A sect outside the Great Wall of Mobei. Aren't Fan Daphne and the others also from Mobei beyond the Great Wall? Yuan Xiong and Yang Zonping also thought of this. Yes, I think the Scorpion Gate has become a killing tool in the real murderer behind the scenes. Xiao Wuji said Qianqianyi and Fan Daphne are the same. They may have participated in reselling ordnance because they were threatened. None of them knew who the real culprit was behind the reselling of arms, but Qianqianyi might have seen the symbol of the Scorpion Gate during his contact with the person who sent the message, and wrote it down. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 264. Perhaps to protect himself, or perhaps to expose the truth, he left the mark of the Scorpion Gate and waited for us to discover it. Yuan Xiong and Yang Zonping nodded slightly. They both agreed with Xiao Wuji's statement. Very good, this is a very useful clue. If you follow this clue, you may be able to find the mastermind behind it. A piece of news finally appeared among a series of bad news, which made Yuan Xiong overjoyed. Xiao Wuji said the poisonous scorpion sect is far away outside the Mobei Great Wall, where there is a mixture of fish and dragons. We went to the outside of the Great Wall to investigate the case, but we may not be able to catch it. Yuan Xiong smiled and said, Wuji, you are worrying too much. My Jinyue has eyes all over the world, so naturally I will not miss Mobei. Don't worry, third brother, I have a solution. That's good. Xiao Wuji smiled and nodded. He was afraid that Yuan Xiong would send him far away to investigate the case outside the Great Wall. Xiao Wuji didn't want to go to such a far place. What about you? What clues have you found? Xiao Wuji looked at the two people and asked. Yang Zonping shook his head with a wry smile and said, I also went to take a step later. When I arrived at the home of North Gate Guard Wang Ziwen, he had already been silenced. Like Qianqianyi and other three officials, their entire family was wiped out, with no one left alive. How arrogant! Xiao Wuji sighed endlessly. Who says it isn't? Yang Zonping shook his head helplessly. Yuan Xiong said coldly, no matter who he is, he dares to resell arms and shake the country's foundation. He also kills imperial officials and kills many people. He must pay the price for these numerous crimes. No matter what means we use, our Jinyue will find the person behind this and bring him to justice. Yuan Xiong looked at Xiao Wuji and said, Wuji, you should follow the clues of the poisonous scorpion section. Although the poisonous scorpion sect's home base is far outside the Mobei Great Wall, there must be their stronghold in Jinling City. You need to take them find out. Yes, third brother. Yang Qinhu, go and thoroughly investigate the interpersonal relationships of Wang Ziwen, Qianqianyi and other officials. Be sure to identify people who may be related to the arms case. I assert that this person must be a high official in the court, or even a relative of the royal family. You must find this person for me. Yang Zonping responded with his fists clasped, yes. Go ahead. Subordinates resign. Xiao Wuji and Yang Zonping clasped their fists at the same time, and then strode away. After Xiao Wuji and Yang Zonping left, Yuan Xiong immediately went to the study, picked up a pen and ink and wrote a note. He walked to the window and blew a whistle. A well-trained falcon fell from the sky and landed on Yuan Xiong's arm. Yuan Xiong touched the falcon's head, and then placed the note on the talon of the falcon. "Go ahead." Yuan Xiong raised his hand gently, and the eagle soared into the sky, flew into the distance, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. As Yuan Xiong said, Jin Yiwei's eyes are all over the world, and there are naturally people from Jin Yiwei in Mobei. Yuan Xiong only needs to fly into the distance. Book and send the order to Mobei. The Jin Yiwei of Mobei will naturally go to investigate the poison scorpion sect. Even though he is thousands of miles away, Yuan Xiong can grasp the first-hand information of the poison scorpion sect. A small poisonous scorpion sect dares to participate in reselling ordnance. It is really desperate. When I find you out, I will cut you into pieces and crush your bones into ashes. Yuan Xiong's eyes were cold, and there was a flash of coldness. At this moment, the murderous aura that erupted from Yuan Xiong's body was extremely cold and made people shudder. Jinling City, Langzhou Villa. The young prince stood in the Snow Moon Pavilion, standing with his hands behind his back, holding a white jade wine glass in his hand. The clear, transparent, and fluorescent wine was gently swaying in the glass, exuding the aroma of wine. This was a royal tribute, drunk with morning dew, and only royal family members were eligible to enjoy it. At this moment, the prince's personal bodyguard came behind him and said respectfully, "Your Highness, everyone has been dealt with. The Jin Yiwei has already checked and returned empty-handed. They will never be found on our heads." The prince shook the wine glass and said calmly, "We can't let down our guard now. We must keep an eye on Yuan Xiong and Xiao Wuji at all times. These two people are not ordinary people. Once a flaw is exposed, no matter how small it is, they will magnify it infinitely, and then all the achievements will be defeated." "Yes, Your Highness." "Go ahead." The subordinate resigned. The middle-aged guard left, but the young prince was still standing in the Suiyu pavilion. He never turned around, so I don't know what he looked like. After a busy day in Bijinfuzi, Xiao Wuji came back home. The poison scorpion sect has been hiding in Jinling City for at least 3 years. It is not that easy to find them in a short time. It is useless to be anxious now. The food must be eaten one bite at a time and the case must be solved step by step. Xiao Wuji's mentality very stable. Xiao Wuji, who was walking on the road, suddenly frowned, and then a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. He hadn't been followed for a long time, and he hadn't experienced this feeling of being watched in secret for a long time. "Can't stand it any longer. Or do you want to silence him directly?" No way, you want to destroy me, the great master, in Oris Hill. Is the person behind the scenes so powerful?" Xiao Wuji secretly thought in his heart, and walked towards Xiao Mansion without stopping, and his steps were unhurried and slow. The man in the dark followed closely, and the distance between him and Xiao Wuji was always just right, not far away. Not even close. Suddenly, Xiao Wuji turned into a small alley and disappeared instantly. Following Xiao Wuji were 2 middle-aged men. Their appearance was ordinary. Except for their burly stature, they were inconspicuous in the crowd. Seeing Xiao Wuji disappear, the 2 people immediately quickened their pace and followed into the alley. The order they received was to keep a close eye on Xiao Wuji's every move. Wherever Xiao Wuji went and what he did, they must make a note of it, and then report it. The 2 rushed into the alley and saw that there was no one in the box, except for a wild cat that was frightened and ran away like an explosion of fur. "No, I lost track." The 2 looked at each other and saw the panic in each other's eyes. The punishment for failing the mission was very cruel, and they couldn't bear it. "Look for him quickly, he can't go far." Just as they were about to catch up, they heard a voice coming from behind, "Stop chasing me, I'm here." The moment the voice sounded, the two big men froze on the spot, sweating on their foreheads, and did not dare to look back. They all knew that Xiao Wuji was standing behind them at this moment. They knew Xiao Wuji's strength very well, and their lives had been threatened at this moment. Xiao Wuji held it in his hand. "Tell me who sent you here?" Xiao Wuji asked coldly. "Stop dreaming, we won't say anything." The two big men looked at each other and gritted their teeth at the same time. But Xiao Wuji was faster than them, and slapped them twice. Several bloody teeth shot into the sky, and the two big men flew out heavily, smashing when I reached the wall. My mouth and nose were bleeding. "Want to commit suicide by taking poison? Stop dreaming." Xiao Wuji sneered. "If you fall into my hands, it will be difficult for you to die. You can only die if I let you die." The two big men collapsed on the ground, panting, looking at Xiao Wuji with horrified eyes, unable to say a word. "You are so eager to follow me. It seems that your master is not as calm as I thought." Xiao Wuji came to the two of them and looked at them condescendingly, as if he were looking at two ants. But Xiao Wuji did not interrogate him, but glanced behind him with the corner of his eye and said lightly, "Since you are here, come out. Don't even think about running away, you can't escape." After the words fell, two people walked out of the alley. A beautiful woman and a young girl, who were clearly Xia Xinran and her personal bodyguard. There were two groups of people following him, which Xiao Wuji had discovered a long time ago. But Xiao Wuji did not. I thought that the person coming was the Princess Xia Xinran. It seems that Xia Xinran did not listen to his warning. "The princess is here like this? What's the matter with following me?" Xiao Wuji asked with a smile. Xia Xinran came over and said angrily, "Who is following you?" "I am going shopping and happened to pass by here, right? The road is right here. If you can walk it, so can I." Xiao Wuji shrugged his shoulders and said, "As long as the princess is happy, that's fine." "You." Xia Xinran was furious and was so angry that Xiao Wuji was speechless. "Well." At this moment, two muffled sounds suddenly sounded. Xiao Wuji suddenly looked back and saw two big men lying on the ground with 7 orifices. They bled and died from the poison. Their skin turned dark, and their flesh melted quickly, eventually turning into 2 pools of blood. Ah! When Xia Xinran saw such a horrifying scene, she immediately let out a scream, ran to the beautiful woman, and held her arm tightly. "Don't be afraid, princess, it's okay." The beautiful woman comforted Xia Xinran in a low voice, and her eyes were full of solemnity when she looked at the 2 pools of blood on the ground. Just as she guessed, the case was not simple. Xiao Wuji sneered and said, "It's so poisonous. I didn't expect it to be hidden in other than the mouth. Poison, they also have secret hands." Xia Xinran said from the side, "Now that both of them are dead, you haven't asked anything yet. Aren't you in a hurry? What should you do now?" Although Xia Xinran was scared, she was also a little gloating at the same time. Who made Xiao Wuji angry with her every time? She just liked to see Xiao Wuji deflated. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "I already know what I should know, and there is no need to interrogate. These 2 people died just in time, saving me the trouble of catching them back." "You knew already? What do you know?" Xia Xinran's eyes widened. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "It's a matter of confidentiality. I apologize that I can't reveal it." Xia Xinran shouted sweetly. "I think you are speaking harshly and are afraid of being embarrassed, right? In fact, you don't know at all." Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "It's good that the princess is happy." "You." Xia Xinran was so angry that she gritted her teeth, her chest heaved violently, and the waves were turbulent. It was this sentence again, every time. If Xiao Wuji argued with her, she could still defend herself. but Xiao Wuji's words made her unable to. There's nothing to say. It's like a punch on cotton, leaving her powerless. Princess, please go back quickly. There has been some unrest in Jinling City recently. You have a distinguished status. It would be bad if something happened. Xiao Wuji smiled and left. Xia Xinran shouted loudly behind him, don't leave, I want to investigate this case too. Xiao Wuji didn't look back, and said calmly, the case belongs to Jin Yiwei, the princess should go home for dinner early. You are of a noble body, and you are too proud to do such dangerous work. The beautiful woman agreed. What Master Xiao said is that the princess should go back with me. With Mr. Xiao present in this case, the truth will surely come to light. Princess, it is better not to put yourself at risk. The beautiful woman's sixth sense has been warning that this case is more dangerous than she imagined. The person behind the scenes has sent someone to follow Xiao Wuji, which shows the man's rampant righteousness. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 265. If Xia Xinran intervened forcefully, she would be retaliated soon. The scene of today's Qian mansion being wiped out is still vivid in her mind, and the beautiful woman really can't feel at ease. Seeing Xiao Wuji walking further and further away, Xia Xinran jumped up in anger. She couldn't bear to see Xiao Wuji looking down on her. Although Xiao Wuji stayed true to the princess's every word and his attitude was respectful, his words were full of ridicule. How could Xia Xinran stand this anger? No, I must investigate this case, and I must solve it before Xiao Wuji. Look how this princess slaps him in the face. Xia Xinran didn't know what picture she had in her mind, and she couldn't help but reveal an evil smile. Seeing this, the beautiful woman shook her head helplessly. She was really tired of having such a little princess in the stall. But the beautiful woman also had other ways. She flew secretly. The pigeon sent a letter to Xia Yuanxiang, who was far away in the border area, about the situation in Jinling City and asked for Xia Yuanxiang's opinion. It seems that only Xia Yuanxiang can control the princess. Xiao Wuji did not sway Xia Xinran. He did learn from the two big men. I got useful clues from them. The poisonous scorpion sect is good at using poison, and all the disciples in the sect are poisonous, which can kill people invisible. The two people died so miserably, and they turned into blood directly after death. It can be seen that how strong is the poison used to commit suicide. This further proves that they are members of the poisonous scorpion sect, and also proves that Xiao Wuji's direction of investigating the case is not wrong. Even if these two little people are captured alive, there is a high probability that they will not be interrogated. There is no useful information. It is enough to prove that the poisonous scorpion sect does exist in Jinling. The next step for Xiao Wuji is to find the people from the poisonous scorpion sect. Today, the people from the poisonous scorpion sect have surfaced. It can no longer be hidden. Relying on the spies of Jin Yiwei, I think it won't be long before something is discovered. Xiao Wuji just needs to wait patiently. A night of silence, and the next day comes in a blink of an eye. Xiao Wuji has just arrived in Bijinfu Si. He was summoned by Yuan Xiong. Third brother, are you looking for me? Yuan Xiong looked at Xiao Wuji and asked, when you went back yesterday, nothing happened, right? Xiao Wuji said, I met two little bugs and I killed them. Is it possible that it was the third brother? Yuan Xiong nodded and said, I also met two little bugs, and found the poisonous scorpion door tattoo on their bodies. Wuji, you checked correctly, the poisonous scorpion sect was indeed involved in this case. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, now that they have shown up, things will be easier to handle. With the strength of our Jin Yiwei, it shouldn't be difficult to catch them. Yuan Xiong nodded slightly. Just as he was about to speak, he saw Yang Zonping rushing over. See Yuan Qinhu, meet Xiao Qinhu. Yang Zonping clasped his fists and saluted. Okay, no need to be polite. Yuan Xiong waved his hand, Just tell me, what happened, are you so anxious? Yang Zongping said, my subordinates just came to report that they had found traces of the poisonous scorpion disciples. Oh? Real? Yuan Xiong suddenly stood up. Yang Zongping said, I dare not lie, it is absolutely true. Yuan Xiong slapped his hand on the tea table and laughed, well done, look at how these hidden bastards can hide now. Wuji, without further ado, you will take the people out immediately to catch all these insects from the poisonous scorpion sect. Xiao Wuji clasped his fists and said, third brother, don't worry, none of them can escape. After saying that, Xiao Wuji turned around and strode away, followed closely by Yang Zongping. After ordering the troops, Xiao Wuji immediately led the people to set off. The poisonous scorpion sect stronghold discovered by Jin Yiwei's eyes was not outside Jinling City, but inside Jinling City, and it's in Wan Shifang. Wan Shifang is a mixed bag, full of people from all walks of life, and there are also many illegal gangs. According to reports from informants, the scorpion sect stronghold is a gang called the Green Snake Gang. On weekdays, it is used as an escort. Goods, part-time escorts to make a living. The Green Snake Gang has been established for 6 years, twice as long as Fan Daphne Er confessed to smuggling ordnance. Xiao Wuji rode on horseback, galloping wildly, and the group was we soon arrived at the headquarters of the Green Snake Gang. The Green Snake Gang's headquarters was a large mansion, and there were 4 Green Snake Gang members standing guard at the door. Seeing the menacing Jin Yiwei coming to kill, I was so scared that I hurried in to report the news and closed the door at the same time. Door. Seal the Green Snake Gang's base so that not even a fly can fly out. No one from the Green Snake Gang will be spared. If possible, they will be captured alive. Anyone who resists will be killed without mercy. Xiao Wuji gave the order and jumped up from the horse. The Suiyan Mad Saber automatically unsheathed itself and fell into Xiao Wuji's hand. Then a 30-meter-long huge sword energy shot out of the air and hit the Green Snake Gang's house hard. On the door. There was a loud bang, and the 2 solid wood vermilion doors shattered, turning into countless debris and flying in all directions. Afterwards, Xiao Wuji led people into the Green Snake Gang's lair. There was also a team of Jinyi guards who led the Green Snake. The gang station was surrounded by water. The surrounding people were evacuated and fled far away. Of course, there were also bold melon eaters who looked at this place from a distance and talked among themselves. What's going on here? Why is Jin Yiwei here again? Didn't Jin Yiwei raid a small courtyard not long ago? Why are you here again today? This seems to be the headquarters of the Green Snake Gang. What did the Green Snake Gang do? It actually attracted Jin Yiwei to arrest people personally. And looking at the menacing look, the Green Snake Gang has caused a lot of trouble this time. Humph, I think the Green Snake Gang deserves it. These people bully ordinary people on a daily basis, and I heard they even kidnap and traffic women and children in private. These damn bastards should have died long ago. Many people speak of the Green Snake Gang with hatred in their eyes and gnashed teeth. The poisonous scorpion sect disguises itself as the Green Snake Gang and is entrenched in Wan Shifang. On the surface, it is engaged in the business of transporting goods and escorting escorts. But privately they collect protection fees, bully the people, and even engage in human trafficking. Naturally, the people hate the Green Snake Gang deeply. Where the Green Snake Gang is stationed, the Green Snake Gang's gang, when everyone saw the Jin Yiwei coming in, they stepped forward with weapons in hand and fought with the Jin Yiwei without saying a word. In ordinary lawless gangs, if Jin Yiwei comes to kill them, their first reaction is fear. The leader of the gang will come out to explain and ask if there is a misunderstanding. I would never dare to be like the Green Snake Gang and take action without saying anything. Everyone knows that Jinling City is the home of the Jinyi guards. Here, the dragon must be coiled and the tiger must lie down. Even the disciples of the 3 sects of Buddhism, Taoism, and swordsmanship, you have to bow your head when you encounter Jin Yiwei in Jinling City. This group of people are so brave and not afraid of death, which further proves that there is something wrong with them. Jiang. Xiao Wuji slashed with his sword, and the sword energy swept across, killing a large group of Green Snake Gang disciples in front of them. Cut off at the waist. These people are first-rate and second-rate warriors, pitifully weak. Killing them is easier than killing a chicken. Those who lay down their weapons and kneel down to surrender will avoid death. Those who are stubborn will be killed without mercy. Xiao Wuji roared loudly, and his voice was filled with powerful real energy, spreading to every corner of the Green Snake Gang's lair. Many members of the Green Snake Gang were directly shocked by Xiao Wuji's roar, causing their mouths to bleed and suffered injuries. Was seriously injured. The Jinyi guards had a large number of people and were stronger than the Green Snake Gang. After a series of random killings, corpses were everywhere on the ground, and the Green Snake Gang began to collapse. Xiao Wuji saw that the bodies of the Green Snake Gang members were all covered with blood, revealing scorpion tattoo. Some of these tattoos are on the back of the hands, some on the back of the neck, and some on the chest, with the corner exposed after the clothes are torn. It seems that I found the right place. Seeing the scorpion tattoo, Xiao Wuji knew that his trip was safe. The remaining Green Snake Gang members began to retreat with fear in their hearts. But at this moment, a sword energy shot out, knocking out the two retreating men. A Green Snake Gang killed everyone. Their heads rose into the sky, and their bodies collapsed. After the bodies and heads fell to the ground, they turned into a pool of blood in the blink of an eye, with no bones left. No one is allowed to retreat, I will kill anyone who retreats. An old roar sounded, and then a black shadow jumped down from the roof and came to Xiao Wuji. It was an old man with white beard and hair, his face was full of wrinkles, his eyes were narrow and sinister, and he looked at people. His eyes were like those of poisonous snakes, which made people shudder. He was holding a long sword, but the long sword was completely black and exuded a faint fishy smell, which was obviously quenched with poison. Even if he was injured by this sword, just a scratch on the skin may lead to death from the poison. And his internal strength is also poisonous. Therefore, the sword energy he releases also contains highly poisonous. Because of this, the two people who died under his sword will have no bones left. Elder Lin. Elder Lin. It's Elder Lin who's here. Seeing this old man, all the members of the Green Snake Gang looked horrified, obviously very afraid of this old man. Kill these Imperial guards, leaving no one behind. I promise that if you kill a royal guard, you will be rewarded with 100 taels of silver. If you kill a general bannerman, you will be rewarded with 1,000 taels of silver. If you kill a member of 100 households, you will be rewarded with 10,000 taels of silver. If you can kill 1,000 households, you will be rewarded with 100,000 taels of silver. The old man roared angrily. The moment his voice fell, the eyes of everyone in the Green Snake Gang turned red. There was no trace of panic or fear anymore. As the saying goes, there must be a brave man with a lot of money. The warriors at the bottom of the world work hard just for a word of money. Now the old man is using money to arouse the greed in these people's hearts, directly raising their fighting spirit to the highest level. Kill. Kill them. Don't even try to compete with me. The members of the Green Snake Gang rushed towards the Jin Yiwei like crazy, and the sound of killing was loud. Their momentum actually seemed to overwhelm the Jin Yiwei. A group of ants also want to overthrow the world. Xiao Wuji frowned coldly, and swept across a group of Green Snake Gang members. He swung his sword 4.4 times, and the frosty air suddenly exploded. The 30-meter-long huge sword air suddenly fell, splitting dozens of people into blood mist, and no bones were left. The cold air it exploded and froze the surrounding area. At a glance, the ground was covered with a thick layer of frost, and there were dozens of lifelike ice sculptures. The Green Snake Gang members who were frozen into ice sculptures still had their expressions before death and appearance. With just one move, Xiao Wuji directly defeated the fighting spirit of the Green Snake Gang. In the face of absolute strength, no matter how many people there are, they are still ants. No matter how high the fighting spirit is, they are just seeking death. Elder Lin? You should be a senior member of the poisonous scorpion sect, right? Came just in time. Now that you're here, don't leave. Xiao Wuji locked his eyes on Elder Lin in the distance, and with a flicker of his body, he turned into a bolt of lightning and shot towards that person. With a hiss, the lightning flashed away, and Xiao Wuji had already teleported to Elder Lin, with his two fingers forming a sword pointed at his chest. This old man looked like he was a senior member of the poisonous scorpion section. He must know a lot of secrets. It would be a pity to kill him. He must be captured alive. Boy, look at me, cripple your fingers and take your life. Seeing that Xiao Wuji had no use for the sword, he actually attacked him with his fingers. Elder Lin smiled coldly and swung his sword to stab Xiao Wuji. The dark essence enveloped the sword blade, forming a spiral shape, exuding waves of fishy odor. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 266. Clang. Xiao Wuji's sword finger and sword tip met face to face, making a crisp sound. Elder Lin thought that the sword could destroy Xiao Wuji's fingers and poison Xiao Wuji to death. However, the moment the killing moves collided, he was dumbfounded. Because it was not Xiao Wuji's finger that was broken, but his sword. I saw the sword in Elder Lin's hand shattered inch by inch. Xiao Wuji moved forward without hesitation, and after smashing the sword in his hand, he tapped one on his chest. The powerful finger force broke through the body, directly attacking the internal organs and severely damaging them. Xiao Wuji turned his fingers into palms again, using two palms in an instant. One palm slapped his lower abdomen, destroying his dantian, and the other slapped him away, shattering all his teeth. Elder Lin screamed and flew backwards like a broken sack. He vomited blood in mid-air and landed heavily. When he landed on the ground, there was a crackling sound in his body, his tendons were broken, and he could no longer stand up. Xiao Wuji turned over and landed on the ground, and shouted coldly, "Your Elder Lin has been crippled. If you don't just capture him without mercy, do you really want to die without a burial place?" Xiao Wuji's voice was like thunder, exploding in the ears of all the Green Snake Gang members. Seeing that Elder Lin was already crippled and like a dead dog, they finally couldn't hold on any longer and put down their weapons one after another and knelt down to surrender. "Take it." Xiao Wuji gave an order, and the Jin Wei rushed forward, tied up all the members of the Green Snake Gang, and locked them with chains. All the innate masters fed them secret medicine to disperse their innate true energy. Then, the Jin Wei rushed into each branch of the Green Snake Gang. At the same time, the Green Snake Gang ransacked their home. At this time, Yang Zonping hurriedly came from behind with his men. Xiao Wuji and Yang Zonping, one after the other, attacked the Green Snake Gang's lair from two directions. Now they converged, making it clear that the Green Snake Gang has fallen apart. "Yang Qinhu, how is the situation over there?" Xiao Wuji asked. 18 Yang Zonping replied, "I only met a few innate warriors, and I have captured them all." Xiao Wuji said, "I caught a Grand Master here, I think he is an elder of the poisonous scorpion section. There is only one Grand Master in charge of the Green Snake Gang, and presumably he is just a branch of the poisonous scorpion sect, not the general helmsman." Yang Zonping nodded and said, "I think so too. The poisonous scorpion sect is not weak. It is impossible to have only one Grand Master. I guess they still have some hidden troops." Xiao Wuji sneered, the cunning rabbit has 3 burrows, and the poisonous scorpion has also learned its cleverness and turned into a fox. Yang Zonping said with a smile, even if the poisonous scorpion can turn into a fox, it can't escape the tiger's pursuit. Xiaoqianhu, you are that tiger. Xiao Wuji and Yang Zonping looked at each other and smiled. Although today they only broke one of the poisonous scorpion gates, it is a good start. As long as we follow the steps and go step by step, we will be able to find out the arms reselling case just around the corner. Sir, I have made a discovery. At this moment, Shuihua hurried over and reported, Sir, we found something in the Green Snake Gang's warehouse. It was ordnance. Take us there. Xiao Wuji did not dare to delay for a moment, and followed Shuihua to the Green Snake Gang's warehouse. Sure enough, he saw boxes of ordnance in the warehouse. The number was more than what was previously seized from Fan Dafen's second hand, enough to equip 2,000 people. Looking at these ordnance, Xiao Wuji had no expression on his face, and then showed a sneer. I really thought it was wrong. Besides Fan Dafen there were other people behind the scenes who transported the ordnance for him. In addition to ordnance, Xiao Wuji also found a lot of silver in the warehouse. After a rough calculation, there were a total of 800,000 taels of silver. Transport all the silver and ordnance here back, and also capture all the Green Snake Gang members and interrogate them severely. Also, I will turn this courtyard over and search it every inch, not letting go of any suspicious clues. Xiao Wuji gave the order, and his Jin Yiwei immediately took action. Afterwards, Xiao Wuji and Yang Zonping escorted the weapons and prisoners back to Bijin Fuzi. Yuan Xiong laughed and laughed at the Fuzi Kinhu office in Bijin. The sound spread throughout thousands of houses. Okay, do your best, Wuji, you really did not disappoint the third brother. Xiao Wuji said, the enemy we encountered this time is only one grandmaster. If this fails, then I will be too incompetent. Yuan Xiong stopped his smile and said seriously, I understand what you mean. I will let my men search Jinling closely and find all the other poisonous scorpions. A small poisonous scorpion sect dares to cause trouble in Jinling City. If we don't take this opportunity to scare the monkeys, the world will look down on our Jin Yiwei. All the collected ordnance was put into storage and sealed, and all the poisonous scorpion disciples were put into prison and severely interrogated. Jinling City, Langzhou Villa. The young prince was still so calm and relaxed. Today he did not put out fish food, but he was fishing. He was fishing alone in the lake with a purple bamboo fishing rod in his hand. It can be seen that his bait was not placed under the water, but suspended 3 inches above the water. Although there was bait on the hook the hook is straight. In the eyes of ordinary people, only fools can fish like this. Because fishing like this, even if fishing for 100 years, it is impossible to catch fish. But this prince is full of confidence, and his mouth is always full of smiles. An indifferent smile. Unfortunately, his indifference was soon broken. The middle-aged guard hurriedly came behind the young prince and said in a solemn tone, Your Highness, something serious has happened. The young man from Wan Shifang, the snake gang, was defeated by Xiao Wuji and his men. Plop. As soon as he finished speaking, the fishing rod hit the water hard, frightening away a group of fish attracted by the scent of the bait. The young prince turned his head and looked at the middle-aged guard. His indifferent smile had all disappeared. The rest was shocked and angry. What's going on? How could the Green Snake Gang be exposed? How did Xiao Wuji find out about the Green Snake Gang? The middle-aged guard shook his head and said, My subordinates don't know either, but now is not the time to investigate why the Green Snake Gang was exposed, but how to deal with the aftermath. The Green Snake Gang's warehouse still contains weapons for 2,000 people and a sum of funds, but now they have all been taken away by the Jin Yiwei. Your Highness, what should we do? The young prince covered his head and shouted with a gloomy face, What should I do? How does this king know what to do? The ordnance and silver have been brought back to Bijin Fuzi by Jin Yiwei. Is it possible that I can still go up there and rob them? After losing 3 batches of ordnance in succession, plus a large amount of silver, the young prince finally broke through the defense and roared like thunder. When the things arrived at Fuzi, only one person could take them, bring him out, that is the current emperor. At this point, the young prince is powerless. Quickly cut off all contact with the Green Snake Gang. If the notice continues, all other branches will remain asleep. No one is allowed to act rashly without my order. Also, tell Poisonous Scorpion to keep a low profile these days and stop causing trouble. Jinling City has not been peaceful recently. If he causes trouble and is targeted by the Jinyi guards, I will not be able to protect him. The young prince calmed down his anger and calmly issued the order. Yes. The middle-aged guard surrendered his hands and obeyed the order, turned around and retreated. The young prince threw out the fishing rod and gritted his teeth. Damn Xiaowuji, do you have to go against me? When I saw that you were a talented person, I originally wanted to spare your life. Now it seems that you must not stay. For the first time, the young prince felt that the development of the matter was out of his control. He originally thought that by killing the 3 officials of Qianqinyi and the entire family of Qianqinyi, he would be able to cut off all the clues. Even the Jin Yiwei, there was no investigation, and the case would be closed. But he didn't expect that Xiaowuji's ability was much stronger than he thought. In just one day, he actually found out about the Green Snake Gang. He didn't think that Xiaowuji was a fluke. Xiaowuji must have mastered the evidence, so he suddenly took action and took down the Green Snake Gang in one fell swoop. Fan Daphne is not important. Even if he is caught, he does not know his existence. But the Green Snake Gang is different. The Green Snake Gang is just the disguise of the Poison Scorpion sect. And the Poison Scorpion sect is a tool in his hands. Several high-level officials inside the Poison Scorpion sect know of his existence. The Green Snake Gang that was wiped out today is just a branch. Even if it is exposed, it will not endangering him. But if Xiaowuji continues to investigate, who knows what else Xiaowuji will find. Today Xiaowuji can destroy a sub-rudder of the Poison Scorpion sect, and tomorrow Xiaowuji may break through the main rudder of the Poison Scorpion section. He won't be able to hide it anymore. Once the incident happens, with his father's temperament, he will never be spared. His brothers will not stand aside and will definitely beat up the drowned dog. Even if he doesn't die by then, he has no chance to take the throne anymore. He can only be imprisoned until death, and his life is worse than that of a dog. The young prince is proud of himself. Even if he dies, he does not want to live like a dog. Xiaowuji cannot stay, he must die. But if you want to kill Xiaowuji 760, you need a foolproof plan. It is impossible to kill Xiaowuji in Jinling City, he must be led outside the city. The young prince knows the strength of Xiaowuji. He is a master in the early stage of the Grand Master and has unparalleled light skills, which is enough to rival the mid-stage Grand Master. If Xiaowuji wanted to escape, it would be impossible to kill him in Jinling City. Because with Xiaowuji's strength, he can definitely support until the masters of Jin Yiwei arrive, and even the masters of the 6 gates will come to support. Therefore, if you want to kill Xiaowuji, you must have enough time. The young prince fell into deep thought, and a plan slowly took shape in his mind. His eyes became more and more, it was getting colder, and the murderous intent in his body was getting stronger and stronger. The gloomy cold air burst out from his body, rushing in all directions, instantly freezing everything around him for more than 10 feet. Just do it. A flash of blood flashed from the eyes of the young prince and disappeared in a flash. In the dark night, in the Jinyiwei prison, the lights were brightly lit and the atmosphere was gloomy. All the cells were filled with prisoners. They were dirty and filthy, and the air was smelly. Only the cell is extremely tidy, and the air is not smelly, but is filled with the faint fragrance of flowers. Because Xiaowuji is sitting in the cell at the moment, of course his Jinyi guards must clean it. There is a dining table in the cell, and on the table there were 8 side dishes, including meat and wine. Xiao Wuji drank alone, drank wine and ate meat, and drank with the screams of prisoners. From time to time, the miserable wailing of prisoners could be heard around him, but it did not disturb his enjoyment of drinking and eating food at all. I seem to be getting more and more perverted lately. Xiao Wuji thought this in his heart. Listening to the prisoners' screams, he could drink wine and eat meat happily. Not everyone can have this kind of mentality. Xiao Wuji did not have this hobby before, but unknowingly he is used to it. Maybe he has killed too many people, and Xiao Wuji has long been numb. Now that the death of life has disappeared, Xiao Wuji can no longer have any emotional fluctuations. Some people have said that when martial arts reaches a certain level, he will lose touch with the weak. Empathy. This is what is called. In the eyes of the strong, the weak are worse than ants. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 267. Since breaking through the realm of unity between man and nature, Xiao Wuji's state of mind has also reached an unprecedented state. The current disregard for life is an external manifestation of the state of mind. "My lord," I asked. Underscore. 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 Underscore said, "That's all?" Shuehua said. "That's all," Elder Lin said. "I've beaten him to the point where he only has half his life left, and now he's passed out." Xiao Wuji put down his confession, picked up the wine glass, took a sip, and said calmly, "Give him a bowl of ginseng soup to kill him, don't let him die. Also, give the confession to Yang Qinhu and ask him to lead a team to take a look." Shuehua asked doubtfully, "Why don't you go there in person? If he could capture other poisonous scorpion disciples, it would be a great achievement." Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "If you are interested, you can go with Yang Qinhu. My current position of power is high enough. Even if I make any further achievements, I won't be able to be promoted in a short time. Go ahead. Obey." Shuehua was confused and didn't understand, but he still followed Xiao Wuji's order. He handed the confession to Yang Zonping. After Yang Zonping got the confession, he didn't dare to delay for a moment, and immediately summoned people to go to the poisonous scorpion gate. Stronghold. Shuehua and Song Liman also followed. Unlike Xiao Wuji, they wanted to make more contributions. The two of them did not dare to think about the position of 1,000 households, because it could only be held by a strong master. But if you accumulate enough merit, you may be able to get a deputy Renhu position. It would also be good to retire as a deputy 1,000 households. Drive. 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 At the gate of Bijin Fuzi, Yang Ping led the team to leave. But they didn't know that in the dark corner behind them, there was a pair of eyes staring at Yang Zongping's back and the gate of Bijin Fuzi. Xiao Wuji didn't actually lead the team himself. The man in the dark frowned slightly, feeling suspicious. But without thinking too much, he directly recorded what he knew. Then he took out a carrier pigeon from his sleeve and sent the message away through the flying pigeon. Jinling City, Langzhou Villa. The young prince received the letter from Fei Ji and looked a little gloomy. Xiao Wuji actually stood still. Did he guess that the king had already moved his troops, so he didn't want to do useless work? He is indeed a smart man. No wonder he was able to find out the Scorpion sect in such a short time. But it doesn't matter, my king's plan can still go ahead. The young prince used his palms to shake the note into powder, and said in a cold voice, "Pass this order to Elder Meng and Elder Jiao to act according to the plan." Obey. The middle-aged guard behind him responded, strode away, and went to deliver the order. Jinling City, Yongkangfang. Darkness enveloped the earth, and you couldn't see your fingers. The night was dark and silent, and the snowy winter night was bitingly cold. There was no one on the street. Shadows. Only the lanterns on the street emitted a faint firelight, bringing some light. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two black shadows appeared from the night sky and passed quickly over the roof. Their light skills were very good, and they just flashed past. A low sound was made. It would not be detectable even by an expert. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two black shadows spanned half of Yongkong Square and finally landed on a roof. The two were wearing night clothes, and their whole bodies, including their heads, were covered with black cloth. Only one pair of eyes was exposed. At this moment, both pairs of eyes were looking at the mansion in front of them. That mansion was no other place, it was Xiao Mansion. Remember, be careful. Although Xiao Wuji has not come back, there is still a spear sect Gongsun Ao in the Xiao Mansion. He is the 7th master on the earth ranking. Even if you and I join forces, we may not be his opponent. So don't fight him head on, just lure him away. The person on the left said, his voice was low and a little hoarse, like the voice of an old duck. Don't worry, I know what's going on. Another person smiled confidently. Gongsun Ao is very strong. If I face him head on, I might not even be able to take 3 of his moves. But if it's Jing Gong, Gongsun Ao is far behind. All 10 Gongsun Ao combined are no match for me. Everyone knows that Gongsun Ao of the Spear sect has very sharp shooting skills. He can kill or resurrect with one shot. There are few enemies among the great masters. But his shortcomings are also obvious, that is, he is not good at light kung fu. Those who use spears are the most dangerous. The way of opening a great alliance emphasizes breaking through all methods with one force. However, Qinggong is a way of lightness. The two are completely different. The man in black is confident that with his Qinggong cultivation, he can walk Gongsun Ao like a dog. Xiao Mansion. It was silent and dotted with sparks. There were martial arts guards patrolling everywhere in the house, and more than half of them were innate masters. But these innate masters were nothing in the eyes of the two men in black, and they sneaked in easily. Let's go to the back house. The two men in black swayed and split into 2 paths. One of them hid his aura and lurked in a dark corner. The other one quickly approached the back house. Someone is coming in. In the room, Gongsun Ao suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were like 2 lanterns, flashing cold light. With a bang, the door opened automatically. Gongsun Ao had disappeared into the room, and Gongsun Ao's red blood disappeared with him. Spear. Who dare you come to Xiao Mansion to run wild? Gongsun Ao quickly found the man in black on the roof. Without saying a word, he shot the man in black directly into the heart. Gongsun Ao is indeed Gongsun Ao, more terrifying than I thought. Facing the red-blooded spear, the force of the spear came through the air, making the man in black feel the skin tingling all over his body. You know, the real killing move has not really come yet, this is just a prelude. Just a prelude. It was so fierce, how terrifying the real killing move was. I was afraid that one move could kill him. The man in black was wary and did not dare to be careless. Wind blew under his feet, and he retreated 10 feet with a whoosh, and then flew 3 times in an instant, one after another. Changed direction 3 times. Gongsun Ao is indeed Gongsun Ao, I admire you. It's just that with your strength, it's impossible to kill me. Take a step first and see you later. The man in black laughed loudly, swayed, and flew away into the distance. Don't leave, the thief, but keep your life. Gongsun Ao was furious. He flew forward and followed closely behind the man in black. His murderous aura surged out and swept the night sky. The martial arts guards of the Xiao Mansion heard Gongsun Ao. The roars came from everywhere. There is an assassin, come and catch the assassin. Protect the lady. Anyone who acts sneakily will be killed without mercy. The martial arts guards were ready, rushing towards the back house as quickly as possible, surrounding the back house. These guards had already received Xiao Wuji's order. Once they discovered the intruder, they did not need to do anything, they only needed to protect it. Just the back house is fine. In a dark corner, another man in black saw his companion leading Gongsun Ao away, and was secretly proud that the plan was successful. But the reaction speed of the guards of the Xiao mansion was much beyond his expectation. He did not expect that the guards of the mansion were able to protect the back house so quickly, which made it impossible for him to get close. If he wanted to catch Suwanur, he would have to go in head-on. But there are dozens of innate masters in Xiao mansion, as well as many martial arts masters, which is enough. There were more than 200 people. With these 200 people swarming up, even he couldn't kill them all in a short time. When the news of the fighting spreads, if the people in the Xiao mansion send a signal to notify Xiao Wuji of his return, they will passively it's them. As we all know, Xiao Wuji is extremely good at lightness. Although the Xiao mansion is far away from Fuzi in Bijan, with Xiao Wuji's speed, it won't take long to get back. He will definitely die by then. Damn it, I didn't expect that these guards would be the ones to do the bad thing in the end. The man in black didn't pay attention to these guards at all before, and now he is extremely angry. Although it is dangerous, he must do it. After all, this is a task assigned to them by the sect master himself. If he fails, his end will be tragic. How? Why haven't you taken action yet? Just when the man in black was about to take action, a cold voice suddenly sounded in his ears. The man in black shook his body and shuddered. He felt a cold air rush from his heels to Tianlinggai, causing his scalp to tremble. He was numb. There was someone behind him. There was someone behind him. He didn't notice it at all. If this person wanted to kill him, wouldn't it be easy? Is it possible that besides Gongsun Ao, there are other masters in Xiao Mansion? The body of the man in black stiffened, and his head slowly turned behind him, like a puppet turning its head. The next second, his eyes immediately rolled, and his eyes were full of endless fear. Because of the person who appeared behind her. The person is surprisingly Xiao Wuji. You. The man in black was trembling and couldn't say anything. Come. He originally wanted to ask, aren't you in Bijan Fuzi? Why are you in Xiao Mansion? When did you come back? But the huge fear had overwhelmed him, leaving him speechless at all. Boom. Xiao Wuji pointed at the lower abdomen of the man in black, and the force of his finger penetrated his body, destroying all his meridians and danshan. The man in black groaned, spat out a mouthful of blood, and his whole body immediately softened. His danshan was shattered and his martial arts skills were completely useless. The man in black's face instantly turned pale and his aura was extremely weak. But he did not fall, because Xiao Wuji's finger not only disabled his meridians and danshan, but also blocked the acupuncture points all over his body. Now the man in black can only control with his eyelids. There are so many ways for these people to commit suicide by taking poison, even losing their limbs and breaking their teeth is not safe. Xiao Wuji could only immobilize him. Zhao Zhao has no true energy and can only control his eyelids. Let me see how you can commit suicide. How brave are you to dare to come to Xiao Mansion to act wild? Xiao Wuji looked at the man in black with cold eyes, and his murderous intent was already boiling. What he couldn't tolerate the most was someone doing something to his family. These two little thieves wanted to attack Xiao Wuji's family, and they had already touched Xiao Wuji's heart. Bottom line. Dragons have reverse scales, which will kill you if you touch them. At this moment, Xiao Wuji's eyes were extremely cold. The cold murderous aura made the man in black tremble and felt that the blood in his body was frozen. The man in black looked at Xiao Wuji in horror. He didn't understand. He didn't understand why Xiao Wuji would appear in Li Mansion. Their spies had been guarding every exit of Bijan Fuzi. They were very sure that Xiao Wuji had never stepped out of Bijan Fuzi. Could it be Xiao Wuji's Qinggong? Has it reached the point where you are so unnoticed? Can you avoid all their informants? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. The man in black doesn't believe it. If he doesn't understand this, he will die in silence. In fact, Bijinfuzi Xiaowuji is real, and he has indeed never left Bijinfuzi. But Xiaowuji in Xiao Mansion is also real. After breaking through the realm of the unity of heaven and man, Xiaowuji has always maintained the form of the incarnation of heaven and man. Whenever Xiaowuji after leaving Xiao Mansion, the incarnation of heaven and man has been hiding in the dark to protect the safety of Xiao Mansion. As long as the incarnation of heaven and man is here, Xiao Mansion is absolutely safe. If heaven and man are united, no one can threaten Xiao Mansion. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 268. Call. The black shadow flashed, and Xiaowuji grabbed the man in black and disappeared into the Xiao Mansion. On the other side, under the night sky, Gongsun Ao was still chasing the man in black. Every time Gongsun Ao gets closer to the man in black and feels that he will catch up with him soon, the man in black will speed up and distance himself. The man in black just hung Gongsun Ao like he was walking a dog. Call out. At this moment, a black shadow suddenly passed by him. That speed was more than 10 times faster than him. The black shadow instantly caught up with the man in black in front. Before the man in black could react, his power had been disabled and he was captured alive. Xiaowuji showed his true body, holding two men in black in his hands, one on the left and the other on the right. The two people looked at each other, their eyes moving wildly, and they both saw the panic in each other's eyes. Go back. Xiaowuji looked at Gongsun Ao and disappeared in an instant. Gongsun Ao shook his head, smiled bitterly, and turned back to Xiao Mansion. As soon as Xiaowuji appeared, he ran away in vain overnight. Such a big gap, it made him despair. Xiaowuji and Gongsun Ao returned to Xiao Mansion. They did not show up, but came to a secret room. The secret room was empty and brightly lit, with two pictures on one left and one on the right. Chair. The chair on the left is large, a tiger bench, wrapped with chains and covered with barbs. The chair on the right is an armchair. This room is obviously a prison interrogation room, but except for the tiger bench, there is nothing else any interrogation tool. Xiaowuji threw the two men in black to the ground, raised his palm and slashed, the wind roared, shattering their clothes. Only 2 strips of cloth were left to cover the key parts. Then Xiaowuji struck again, the palm of his hand smashed all the teeth of the two people, and then unlocked their acupuncture points. In this case, they no longer have any cover to hide their hands, and it is impossible to commit suicide again. Xiaowuji, if you want to kill me, kill me. Why do you have to humiliate us like this? Scholars can be killed, but not humiliated. 303 The two of them sat on the ground covering their vital parts and yelled, filled with embarrassment and anger. Although their skills had been crippled, they were still masters at the master level, yet they were so humiliated by Xiaowuji. This was worse than killing them. Pain. Don't expect anything from us. Let's do it. We are not afraid of death. The two yelled, as if they were looking forward to death. Xiaowuji ignored the shame and anger of the two, and just looked at them expressionlessly, with an indifferent expression, and said lightly, have you ever experienced despair? Do you know what life is worse than death? The voice was cold, without any warmth. It was like a sharp arrow shooting straight into the heart, which shocked the two of them. Panic involuntarily arose in the two of them. Before they could speak, they saw Xiaowuji lifting his palm to perform power, and 10 tiny pieces of ice slowly appeared, forming talisman of life and death. The two people's eyes widened instantly, full of fear. They had all heard of the name of the life and death talisman, and now they were extremely horrified to see Xiao Wuji using the life and death talisman to deal with them. Before the two of them could react, the life and death talisman had broken through the air. When it came out, it was like a sharp arrow that shot out of the strings and shot into the major points of their bodies. 10 life and death talismans, 5 for each person. The moment they were in the body, their eyes bulged, and they immediately let out heart-rending screams. The two of them rolled on the ground, constantly tearing the skin all over the body, and it was bloody and bloody in an instant. "Spare your life, spare your life. Kill us, kill us. We don't dare anymore. I say, I tell you everything, I tell you everything I know. Spare us. Give us a good time." Seeing the miserable appearance of the two of them, Gongsun Ao also frowned slightly. Although he killed countless people, he never tortured his enemies. He always killed in one shot. Xiao Wuji's style of torturing but not killing was completely different from him. But Gongsun Ao won't talk too much. He knows why Xiao Wuji is so angry. These two people dare to attack Xiao Wuji's family. Naturally, they can't blame Xiao Wuji for being cruel. Under the torture of the life and death talisman, the two have begged for mercy and are willing to say everything happened. But Xiao Wuji didn't want to hear it. He accumulated internal strength in his palms, raised his hand and took the iron chains on the tiger bench, and tied the two of them to the tiger bench, unable to move. Then, Xiao Wuji turned around and left the secret room. The stone door of the secret room fell slowly, completely isolating the screams of the two people. Before the interrogation, Xiao Wuji wanted to let them experience despair and taste life worse than death. This is the price of doing something wrong. Xiao Wuji returned. Xiao Wuji naturally, all the martial arts guards in the mansion dispersed and continued patrolling. Xiao Wuji walked into the room and comforted Su Weiner. Perhaps because of more experience, Su Weiner became more courageous and was not as panicked as before. She knew that as long as Xiao Wuji is here, she will be fine. Jinling City, Langzhou Villa. The young prince and the middle-aged guard sit opposite each other, drinking and other news. Taking Su Weiner as a hostage and threatening Xiao Wuji is the strategy set by the young prince. Xiao Wuji is not here, and there is only one Gongsun Ao in Xiao Mansion, so the possibility of success is very high. The young prince looks up at the thousands of stars in the sky, and is in a good mood. He feels that he will definitely succeed this time. But as time passed, his mood became heavier and heavier. Finally, when the time came to midnight, the young prince dropped the white jade wine cup in his hand. Waste, they are all a bunch of waste. If you can't even deal with a weak woman, you're all useless. No one has come back to report yet, and the result of the operation is already clear. The middle-aged guard said, "Your Majesty, please calm down. Su Weiner can't be captured. We have other baits that will definitely lead Xiao Wuji outside the city. As for Elder Meng and Elder Jiao, although they know some secrets, they do not know the existence of the prince. Even if they are caught, it will not affect the overall situation. Moreover, the secrets that Meng Jiao and the two know just add weight to our bait, and Xiao Wuji will believe it even more." The young prince took a deep breath, temporarily suppressed the anger in his heart, and said in a cold voice, "Meng Jiao and Meng Jiao are responsible for sharing the helm, so the people inside should move immediately. I don't want to suffer any further losses because of these two useless people." The middle-aged guard said, "Your Highness, don't worry. When Meng Jiao and Meng Jiao took action, my subordinates had already ordered their men to move. Now the two sub-rudders have become empty shells. If the Jinyi guards go, they will only fall into the trap we set." "Trap? Well done, BJBH." The young prince nodded slightly, very satisfied with his subordinates' advance plan. "But Your Majesty, with the loss of Meng Jiao and Elder Lin tonight, the poisonous scorpion sect has already lost 3 Grand Masters and Elders. If the poisonous scorpion knew, I'm afraid he would be dissatisfied. The middle-aged guard was a little worried. The young prince had no expression on his face and said in a cold voice, dissatisfied. Why is he dissatisfied? If the people under his command weren't all trash, how could they have ruined this king's major event? He should be grateful that the king did not punish him, but he still dares to feel dissatisfied. The middle-aged guard said the poisonous scorpion is still useful to the prince at present. If he is dissatisfied, it may ruin the matter. My subordinates suggest that it is better for the prince to appease him. The young prince was a little reluctant, but he had to admit that what the guard said made sense. The poisonous scorpion and the poisonous scorpion sect are still valuable to him. This sword cannot be given up yet. The young prince thought for a while and said, if you give poisonous scorpion a pen of gold, silver, and jewelry, it will be regarded as compensation from me. Then he told him that as long as he can help this king achieve great things, he will be as rich and wealthy as he wants in the future. Yes, I obey. Both of them know that scorpions are greedy by nature. As long as they are lured with benefits, they are not afraid that poisonous scorpions will betray them. As long as the gold and silver treasures are in place, poisonous scorpions will not only not be dissatisfied, but will be very happy. They are just 3 elders, dead just die. It wasn't him who died anyway. 3 elders died and earned him a fortune. The more business like this, the better for the poisonous scorpion. Okay, let's ignore the poisonous scorpion for now. The key now is Xiao Wuji. This person must not stay. How is the plan going? The young prince looked at the middle-aged guard and asked. The middle-aged guard said respectfully, don't worry, Your Majesty, the bait has been dropped. Even without Su Wainer, Xiao Wuji will definitely take the bait. If people from the Xiao mansion captured Meng Jiao and Meng Jiao alive and obtained testimonies from their mouths, the bait would be more reliable. The young prince nodded with satisfaction. Originally, Su Wainer was captured just for insurance. Since it failed now, we have no choice but to do it forcefully. If Meng Jiao and Meng Jiao could contribute their last to the king before their death, they would be considered worthy of their death. At this point, the young prince's eyes were cold and flashed with cold light, and the murderous intention in his heart surged. Xiao Wuji, I will kill you this time. Don't blame me for being cruel. If you want to blame me, blame you for being too smart. Smart people often have short lives. The young prince picked up the wine glass, he raised his head and drank, drinking it all in one gulp. The endless night sky, the icy snowy night, the biting coldness, piercing the heart. The whole night was silent, and the next day came in a blink of an eye. In Fuzi, Bijan, Xiao Wuji walked out of the room and stretched, all the bones in his body crackling. Xiao Wuji didn't go home last night, so he spent the night in Fuzi, Bijan. After washing up, Xiao Wuji went to Qinhu station and happened to meet Yang Zonping and his party who were returning from a mission. Behind Yang Zonping, several hundred households stood out, including Shuihua and Song Liman. Judging by their disgraced looks, you knew the trip was not going well. Good morning, Yang Qinhu. Xiao Wuji stepped forward to say hello. Good morning, Xiao Qinhu. Yang Zonping showed a wry smile. He now understood why Xiao Wuji didn't lead the people to carry out the mission in person last night. After all, Xiao Wuji had expected that they would gain nothing even if they went. Just as Xiao Wuji thought, Yang Zonping took the Jinyi Wei went to the poisonous scorpion sect stronghold provided by Elder Lin, but the stronghold was already empty. Not to mention the people, not even a hair was left. The Jinyi Wei entered the stronghold to search, but fell into the trap left by the poisonous scorpionman. Fortunately, Yang Zonping only by taking action in time and breaking through the trap would there be no serious casualties. Afterwards, Xiao Wuji and Yang Zonping came to Qinhu house, and they retreated to talk secretly. Yang Zonping said solemnly, Xiao Qinhu, the people from the poisonous scorpion sect are here. We moved before we went there. We moved so quickly that we might have already received the news. Xiao Wuji nodded, I've also thought about it. I'm afraid there might be a traitor within Bijin Fuzi. Then we must eliminate rape. Yang Zonping said urgently. If the traitor is not eliminated, our actions will be leaked, and the people behind the scenes will know every move we make. It will be difficult for us to catch the real culprit behind the scenes. Xiao Wuji shook his head and said there are tens of thousands of Fuzi guards in Bijin. It is too difficult to investigate. We don't know whether the traitor is male or female, what position he holds, or even how many traitors there are. How can we check? It's too difficult to catch a traitor. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 269. What to do? Is it possible that the traitor is allowed to continue to inform that person? Yang Zonping had a look of reluctance. Xiao Wuji said with a smile, a traitor has a way of using traitors. Since we know that he will tip off the information, we might as well take advantage of it. Yang Zonping's eyes lit up. What Xiao Qinhu means is, Xiao Wuji smiled and said nothing. Yang Zonping instantly understood what Xiao Wuji meant and laughed loudly too. He had to admit that Xiao Wuji was indeed a unique genius. Xiao Wuji is not only strong in martial arts, but his wisdom and strategy are also first-rate. Yang Zonping secretly sighed. Fortunately Xiao Wuji was one of his own. If Xiao Wuji is an enemy, the Jinyai Wei of Bijin Fuzi will have trouble sleeping and eating. The Fuzi Imperial prison in Bijin was full of prisoners. The teams of Shuihua and Song Liman took turns to interrogate and torture them, and they got all the information they could get out. Officials from the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau also greeted everyone. Needless to say, I actually gained something. Half a year ago, a craftsman had diarrhea in the middle of the night. When he got up and went to the latrine, he saw a group of people gathering sneakily at the door of the warehouse, as if they were carrying something. He saw a lot of people at that time, but he didn't dare to say anything. What the official wants to do is not something that a small craftsman like him can just say. Once leaked, not only would he die, but his family would also be implicated. So the craftsman kept the secret in his heart and told no one. If Jinyai Wei hadn't tortured him, he wouldn't have spoken out. I think those people were smuggling ordnance. There must be someone inside the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau, and it was far more than just the three officials like Qian Qinyi. If you want to move a large amount of ordnance, you must have a lot of manpower. Xiao Wuji fell into deep thought and soon had a suspect. There are two types of people in the Ordnance Manufacturing Bureau. One is the craftsman who builds the ordnance, and the other is the soldier who is responsible for guarding the ordnance. The quality of the craftsman is uneven, and there are many people with mixed opinions. It will inevitably be leaked and is not safe. But soldiers are different. Soldiers are well trained and can keep secrets if they are suppressed by superiors. Soldiers are responsible for transporting ordnance when it leaves the warehouse. If the person who smuggles ordnance is a soldier, then it all makes sense. This is self-inflicted theft, no one will doubt it. Good guy, it's dark under the light. Who would have thought that the person responsible for guarding the ordnance would actually be a thief who smuggled the ordnance? What we need to investigate now is the general of the Suzaku Legion who is close to Qian Qinyi. Xiao Wuji found the direction of the investigation and immediately went to find Yang Zonping. He was responsible for tracing the interpersonal relationships of the three officials Qian Qinyi, and there would definitely be something to gain from looking for him. Soon, Xiao Wuji found Yang Zonping in the Qinhu office. Yuan Xiong was also there, just in time to discuss it together. Knowing Xiao Wuji's intention, Yang Zonping immediately recalled the relevant information he had found. The general of the Suzaku Corps who is close to the three officials Qian Qinyi? Yang Zonping paced back and forth in the middle hall, lost in thought. Suddenly his eyes lit up and he said, I thought about it. There is indeed an official who is very close to Qianqinyi. His name is Fu Kong'an, and he is from a 1,000-man team of the Suzaku Corps Commander-in-Chief. I found out that Fu Kong'an and Qianqinyi are from the same hometown and have known each other for more than 40 years. Qianqinyi passed the imperial examination and became an official in the court, and was promoted step by step. Fu Kong'an established his skills on the battlefield and was promoted to commander of the Suzaku army. The two reunited in Jinling and became close friends. They met for drinks every month. Great, this person is very important, we must find him. Yuan Xiong stood up and said, Wuji, you immediately lead people to arrest Fu Kong'an and bring him to justice. If possible, try to catch them alive. Obviously Yuan Xiong also knew that Xiao Wuji was ruthless, but Fu Kong'an was very important and might have clues to the identity of the person behind the scenes. Killing him hastily would not be conducive to solving the case. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, don't worry, third brother, he is just a captain of thousands. It would be easy to capture him alive. After saying that, Xiao Wuji turned around and strode away. Xiao Wuji only took more than 20 men and rushed to Fu Kong'an's mansion as quickly as possible. The commander of the thousands of Suzaku Legion is also a big military officer. Fu Kong'an the mansion is not small, and there are 4 soldiers standing guard in front of the door. Seeing Xiao Wuji's arrival, the 4 soldiers immediately stepped forward to block the way. My lord, please stop. This is General Fu's mansion. Please don't trespass. If you have something to see me, I can inform you and ask you to wait. See you. Xiao Wuji smiled, a mere Fu Kong'an is not qualified for me to pay him a visit. With that said, Xiao Wuji took out the Jin Yiwei 1,000 household token and shouted coldly, Jin Yiwei is investigating the case, get out of here. Seeing the Kinhu token, the 4 soldiers quickly knelt down and shouted in a panic, I didn't know that Master Kinhu was here. I have offended many people. I hope you will forgive me. Okay, those who don't know are not guilty, get out of the way. Yes. The 4 soldiers did not dare to stop them, so they obediently moved out of the way, and Xiao Wuji entered the Fu mansion. However, Xiao Wuji was destined to return empty-handed. When he entered the Fu mansion and asked, he found out that Fu Kong'an had taken leave of absence and left the city yesterday. He said an old injury has recurred. I need to go outside the city to relax and recover. Relapse of old injury. Xiao Wuji sneered sarcastically, if it doesn't relapse early, it won't relapse later. But it relapses at this time, which shows that there is something wrong in its heart. After learning that Fu Kong'an was absconding in fear of crime, Xiao Wuji immediately rushed back to Bijin Fuzi to report the news. After Yuan Xiong learned that Fu Kong'an might be absconding in fear of crime, he immediately mobilized the Jin Yiwei spies around Jinling and began to thoroughly investigate Fu Kong'an's whereabouts. The Jin Yiwei spies are known as the Dragnet and are all-pervasive. Fu Kong'an just left the city yesterday. I doubt he can escape far. Unfortunately, we were one step late this time. Yuan Xiong shook his head slightly, a little helpless. Xiao Wuji said expressionlessly, I am now afraid that the people behind the scenes will take the lead and silence Fu Kong'an. By then our clues will be lost again. Yes, Fu Kong'an is very important, he must be captured back to Bijin Fuzi. Yuan Xiong said solemnly. He was not silenced immediately. He must have some ability. He is not a dispensable pawn to the people behind the scenes. He must know a lot of secrets. If we can catch him, we may know the identity of the real culprit behind the ordnance case. Xiao Wuji and Yuan Xiong looked at each other, and they both understood in their hearts. The identity of the real culprit behind this arms case must be extraordinary. As night passed, Jin Yiwei's informants still failed to send back the news. Xiao Wuji did not reply. The Xiao mansion lives in Fuzi, Bijin. This way, if any news comes back, Xiao Wuji can act immediately. But Xiao Wuji himself did not go back, and Xiao Wuji's incarnation of heaven and man did not rest. He has not forgotten it. There were 2 mice imprisoned in his secret room. Boom! The stone door of the secret room opened, Xiao Wuji walked into the secret room alone, and the stone door closed automatically. This time Gong Sun Ao did not follow him. He was not interested in Xiao Wuji torturing and interrogating prisoners. After entering the secret room, Xiao Wuji saw 2 people sitting slumped on the ground at a glance. Their hair was disheveled and their bodies were covered in bruises. There were only a few intact skins on their bodies. Because they were bound by chains, the areas they could scratch were limited. Those areas have been scratched to pieces by themselves. Those with the life and death talisman in their bodies will experience severe itching and severe pain all over the body for 99 and 81 days. The endless torture is even more painful than the Lingqi torture. In just 1 day, these 2 people had been tortured to the point of collapse. The 2 of them had fallen into coma at this moment, and even the severe pain of the life and death talisman could not revive them. Xiao Wuji raised his hand and injected a burst of true energy, temporarily dispelling the life and death talisman. Use their true energy to lift up their remaining vitality. Soon, the 2 of them woke up. When they saw Xiao Wuji sitting in the armchair, both of them showed frightened expressions. Those eyes seemed to see evil spirits. No, more terrifying than evil ghosts. In the hearts of the 2 of them, Xiao Wuji has surpassed all known demons, even the king of hell is far behind. Kill, kill, killed, us. Quick, killed, us. The 2 of them had pleading looks on their eyes and begged for mercy in hoarse voices. They wailed miserably for a day and a night, and their throats were already hoarse. His speech was choppy and accompanied by violent coughing. He vomits blood when he coughs. People in the world say how terrible the life and death talisman is, but without personal experience, no one can describe the horror in words. But now they both know. The life and death talisman is far more terrifying than the rumors say. They wanted to seek relief now, and they just wanted Xiao Wuji to let them die happily. As long as Xiao Wuji can kill them, they will be grateful and regard him as a god. Now I want to listen. Tell me, who are you? Who sent you here? Xiao Wuji looked at the 2 of them calmly and asked. Us, yes, poisonous scorpion, door, elder, I am, Menyuan, Liang, he is, focal length, long. Menyuan Liang said intermittently. Jiao Changlong answered yes, serve the sect master, destiny comes, Xiao family, arrest, Suwan, sons. Caught, afterwards, sent to, outside the city, Fiyun, villa. Xiao Wuji asked again, does the arms reselling case have anything to do with you? Yes. When did you start selling ordnance? 6 years ago. Who is the mastermind behind this? No. Don't know, road. Have no idea. Xiao Wuji's tone suddenly changed, full of harshness. Menyuan Liang and Jiao Changlong were both startled and said in panic, real, don't know, road. Us, only, obey the master, and great elder, the command, act, other, all, don't know. Perhaps, doorkeeper, and great elder, no, but real, have no idea. Xiao Wuji asked, reselling arms is a major crime against the 9 clans. Have you never asked about the identity of the mastermind behind the scenes? Are you so not afraid of death? Menyuan Liang said weakly, some people in the sect have asked, but the sect master and the great elder didn't say anything. They just said that they should obey orders. As long as you are obedient, you can enjoy glory and wealth. Jiao Changlong added, I once heard the sect owner accidentally reveal that as long as this errand is done well, not only can he enjoy glory and wealth, but he may also be granted a title of marquis in the future and his name will go down in history. Become a marquis. Make a name for yourself in history. Xiao Wuji's eyes lit up. These 2 sentences and 8 characters revealed a lot of information invisibly. Those who can promise to be granted a title of Marquis and a name that will remain in history must be a member of the royal family. Only members of the royal family can do this. Confidence and power. In this way, most of the suspicions in the court can be eliminated. Xiao Wuji only needs to focus on the royal family members. The prince, second prince, and third prince are undoubtedly the most suspicious, because today's court officials, these 3 princes have the greatest power. Of course, the other princes in Daoang cannot be ruled out of suspicion. There are also princes from the previous generation, as well as vassal kings from all over the country. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 270. Although the vassal king is far away from Jinling, if he wants to control Jinling remotely, he can do it. Although the number of suspects is still large, it is much less than before. Besides these, what else do you know? Xiao Wuji asked again, where is the chief helm of the poisonous scorpion sect in Jinling City? Besides you, how many elders are there in the poisonous scorpion sect, and how many disciples are there in total? Both of them answered one by one. The chief helmsman of the poisonous scorpion sect is not in Jinling City, but at Feiyun Villa outside the city, as Menu Enliang said. There are probably more than 2,000 disciples in the poisonous scorpion sect, and the top management is the sect leader Poisonous Scorpion and the 5 elders. Except for a small number of disciples who stayed at the former site of the Poisonous Scorpion sect outside the Mobei Great Wall, the rest of the disciples have already moved to Jinling. In the past 6 years, everything in the Poisonous Scorpion sect has actually been transferred to Jinling. Now the old site of the Poisonous Scorpion sect outside the Mobei Great Wall has long been dispensable. How strong is the Poisonous Scorpion? The strength of the sect leader is in the middle stage of the Grand Master. He can compete with the strong ones in the late stage of the Grand Master by relying on his poison skills. The Great Elder's strength is at the level of a half-step Grand Master, but the Great Elder relied on elixirs to achieve breakthroughs, so he can no longer achieve breakthroughs in martial arts in this life. Still got more. Menu Enliang and Jiao Changlong took off the underwear of the poisonous scorpion sect with each other's words. I know everything I know and can tell you everything I know. After interrogation, Xiao Wuji finally came to a deeper understanding of the poisonous scorpion sect. The overall strength of the Poison 107 Scorpion sect is almost the same as that of the Evil Blood section. It is not a famous evil sect outside the Mobei Great Wall, and it is well deserved. However, in the past few days of confrontation, the Poisonous Scorpion sect has lost 3 elders. The remaining poisonous scorpions and the other 2 small scorpions couldn't make any big waves. As long as you find them, it will be easy to defeat them with Wuji's strength. Feiyun Villa. Is Feiyun Villa the home of the poisonous scorpion sect? Xiao Wuji's eyes flashed, thinking about what to do next. He casually glanced at Menu Enliang and Jiao Changlong, and Xiao Wuji raised his hand to create a palm wind, instantly activating the life and death talismans in their bodies. Ah! The screams of the 2 people sounded again, their bodies were twitching continuously, their eyes were about to burst, and their expressions were ferocious. Xiao Wuji, no. Just say, want us, honestly, answer the question and give, we are one, a pleasure? Just what you say, no faith. Menu Enliang and Jiao Changlong roared in despair. Xiao Wuji had no expression on his face and sneered, when did I promise to give you a good time? It's all just your own imagination. Besides, even if I don't keep my word, what can you do to me? Make me really angry and want to die happily? How can it be? Just enjoy the taste of the talisman of life and death. After saying that, Xiao Wuji left the secret room with his hands behind his back. As the stone door of the secret room slowly fell, the screams and wails of the 2 people gradually became lower and finally disappeared completely. This secret room was carefully built by Xiao Wuji, no matter what the sound inside was. No matter how loud the noise was, it would not spread outside. Even if they screamed, it would not be heard outside. Leaving the secret room, Xiao Wuji glanced outside the city and disappeared in an instant. The reward was not overnight, and Xiao Wuji did not want to procrastinate anymore. Resolve it earlier and finish it earlier. In a flash of white light, Xiao Wuji has arrived outside Jinling City. The incarnation of heaven and man can travel thousands of miles in an instant, which is not just talk. Following Xiao Wuji's several moments, he quickly arrived at the flying outside of Yun Villa. Fi Yun Villa covers a large area, with carved railings and jade columns, and cornices. It is a garden with Jiangnan scenery. According to legend, the owner of Fi Yun Villa was a martial arts master who washed his hands in a golden basin and retired from the world. Warriors from all over the world often come to Fi Yun Villa to visit and want to hug him, but the owner of Fi Yun Villa never sees guests and is very mysterious. Who would have thought that Fi Yun Villa is actually the chief helmsman of the poisonous scorpion sect? Xiao Wuji is silent and silent. He entered Fi Yun Villa breathlessly, and none of the night warriors in Fi Yun Villa noticed his arrival. The main hall of Fi Yun Villa. I really want to thank the sect master this time. Once this matter is over, I will thank you deeply. The speaker was a general wearing armor. He held a sword in his left hand and made a sword salute to the person in charge. Ha 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 ha, what did General Fu say? You and I are of the same spirit, and we should act with sincerity at critical moments. Besides, this is also the prince's order, and I must obey it. General Fu will stay at my Fi Yun Villa with peace of mind. I don't expect that the Jin Yiwei will be able to come here either. Even if he is found, I can keep the general safe and sound. The person in charge laughed loudly. The laughter was low and full of domineering. This was a man wrapped in a black robe. He wore a mask with a green face and fangs, which was extremely ferocious and terrifying. He also wore black gloves on both hands, and there were no gloves on his body. An inch of skin is exposed. This person is the leader of the Poison Scorpion sect, Poison Scorpion. And the person talking to him is none other than Fu Kong'an, the 1000th commander of the Suzaku Legion that the Jin Yiwei is looking for. Dare I ask the sect master, does the prince have any instructions? What should I do next? Fu Kong'an asked. Poisonous Scorpion said the prince has made a plan and is determined to eradicate Xiao Wuji. As long as this man dies, no one can solve the arms case. After a while, the news will pass, and General Fu will still be of great use in serving the prince. Very good. Fu Kong'an said with a happy face. Xiao Wuji ruined the prince's good deeds and deserves death. However, Xiao Wuji is not weak. Is the sect leader sure of killing him? Ha 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 ha. Poisonous Scorpion laughed and snorted disdainfully. He's just a kid who has just broken through to become a Grand Master. How strong can he be? It will be easy for me to capture him. General Fu will just wait to see Xiao Wuji's head. Fu Kong'an clasped his fists and said, then I'll wait and see and wait for good news. Ha 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 ha. The main hall echoed with Poisonous Scorpion's arrogant laughter. However, a voice sounded at this time, interrupting Poisonous Scorpion. I also want to see how you want to take my head. Who is it? Who? The Poisonous Scorpion reacted immediately. He stood up from the chair and shouted angrily. Fu Kong'an also drew his sword out of its sheath and looked out of the hall with a vigilant look. He was watching all directions and listening in all directions. He would not let go. Any clues? Who is being sneaky? Get out of here. The Poisonous Scorpion used his full strength and roared loudly, spreading out with great force and tearing the night sky apart. All the warriors in Fi Yun Villa heard the roar and rushed in from all directions. Boom! The Poisonous Scorpion broke through the door and came to the palace. In the outer courtyard, Fu Kong'an followed closely. The two looked left and right, looking for the suspicious person, but found nothing. In the end, the two looked up at the roof of the hall at the same time, and their pupils shrank instantly. I saw a figure appearing on the roof at some point. Standing with hands, back against the bright moon. The breeze blows, the long hair is fluttering, and the sleeves and robes are flying, just like the immortal Ling Chen in the world. A breath of Yuan spreads out, which actually made them breathless. Who are you? How dare you force your way into my Fi'un villa? Seeking death. The poisonous scorpion roared fiercely, and its murderous aura surged. Black true energy erupted faintly around his body, which was frightening. Fu Kong'an on the side had his eyes widened, his expression was horrified, and his forehead was covered with cold sweat. Sect Master, be careful, this person is Xiaowuji. Fu Kong'an warned in a deep voice. Poisonous Scorpion didn't know Xiaowuji, but Fu Kong'an did. Although he had no interaction with Xiaowuji, they were both officials and generals of the Zhou dynasty, so he naturally knew what Xiaowuji looked like. So now when I look at it, I recognize Xiaowuji. Oh? Are you Xiaowuji? Poisonous Scorpion smiled. Although he was wearing a ghost face mask and couldn't see his expression, you could tell by the tone of his voice that Poisonous Scorpion smiled. Ha 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 ha, you are so courageous. I am worried that I don't have the chance to kill you, but I don't expect you to throw yourself into the trap and come to your door. There is a road to heaven but you don't take it, and there is no door to hell so you throw yourself into it. Xiaowuji, today I will send you to hell on the first day of the Great Week. Yaluo magic power. The poisonous scorpion roared, stepped on his feet, and rose into the sky with the help of his strength. The powerful true energy burst out of the body and surrounded it, forming a huge poisonous scorpion. The poisonous scorpion shot out with a palm, and the true energy burst out of the poisonous scorpion immediately. He flew out of the air and flew towards Xiaowuji. The two large pincers of the poisonous scorpion and the huge scorpion tail were both fatal killing moves. Moreover, the poisonous scorpion's true energy contained extremely poisonous poison, which could kill people invisible. As long as you inhale a little bit, even the masters will not be able to hold it, they will bleed from all the orifices and turn into bloody water and die. Even though he has a small skill, he still dares to do the same thing. Facing the oncoming killing move, Xiaowuji did not dodge, but raised his hand gently. With a tap of his palm, it was the 18 dragon subduing palms that flew into the sky. The golden dragon burst out of the air and defeated the poisonous scorpion. The remaining power of the golden dragon was not reduced, and it continued to castrate. It passed through the poisonous scorpion's chest. Poof! Hit by Xiaowuji's palm, the grimace mask on the poisonous scorpion's face cracked and shattered, and he vomited blood. The whole figure was like a kite with its string broken, falling from the air. When it landed, it smashed a stone pillar into pieces. The poisonous scorpion was injured more than once, and it spit out several mouthfuls of blood. Door owner. Master. Help. Seeing that poisonous scorpion was defeated by Xiaowuji's move, many poisonous scorpion sect warriors rushed to rescue him and lifted poisonous scorpion up. Fu Kong'an was terrified in his heart. He had already made up his mind to retreat and wanted to escape. But Xiaowuji's, however, the murderous intention has been firmly locked on him, making Fu Kong'an dare not act rashly. His feet have become weak, let alone running away, and he has no 5.2 strength to walk. Fu Kong'an never imagined that Xiaowuji would be so strong. To such an extent, he actually defeated Poisonous Scorpion with one move. Recalling that not long ago, Poisonous Scorpion was talking about how easily he could defeat Xiaowuji. Thinking about it now, it was really a big joke. But what Fu Kong'an didn't know was that Xiaowuji has been merciless, and he didn't even use a third of his strength. If he didn't want to catch him alive, the poisonous scorpion would have been shattered to pieces and died. Get out of my way. Poisonous Scorpion roared angrily, pushed away the disciples around him, and looked directly at Xiaowuji, his eyes splitting with hatred. His grimace mask had been broken, so Xiao Wuji could clearly see Poisonous Scorpion's face at this moment. That was an extremely ugly face, with distorted features, dark skin, thin and withered. For a moment, Xiao Wuji could not find a suitable adjective to describe the appearance of Poisonous Scorpion. In short, he was the ugliest person Xiao Wuji had ever seen in his life. Even if the North Sea Crocodile King was born with a deformity and was prettier than the poison scorpion. But Xiao Wuji, who was proficient in the art of disguise, knew that the poison scorpion was different from the North Sea Crocodile King in that he was not a congenital deformity. The poison scorpion's appearance was obviously similar to what he had practiced. It is related to the poisonous power. The poisonous scorpion was backbitten by the poisonous power. Evil exercises generally have side effects, and the disfigurement of the poisonous scorpion is probably one of the side effects.